Yeah, Okay, yeah, we're live. Good. Yeah, well, we're back. It's another edition of AM Comics and Coffee with me, Matt, and Tank. How you doing, guys?
Oh, good, except that it seems like less of comics for our stream, so we might want to think of a new name.
It's not. Yeah, but it's
It's
catchy.
generally around comics.
It's a catchy name, all right.
As for me, it is boiling. We got a wonderful 75 degrees and 78% humidity this side. So yeah, it's a warm evening.
Well, I've still got snow on the ground. Last night, guys, like yesterday. Well, actually, yesterday. Yesterday we had we had snow actually coming down. Snow in Western Washington. Yeah, that actually fucking happens.
The polar vortex. Ooh, spooky.
Yeah, well, we were getting like 1 to 4 inches, and like out here, dude, people they will call a snow day for just 1 inch of snow.
Yeah, well, at least the kids enjoyed it.
I bet they did. But yeah, last night I think like around 7 p.m. ish, my power goes out.
Yeah, I had that. That reminds me of the one winter I worked when I was still working 24-hour armed response. I worked in the control room, just dispatching the reaction teams and everything. That was fun. Let's see. 2 a.m, we are sitting in, and I'm talking about Celsius here. I'm talking about -4 degrees Celsius. So that's below freezing. And then the power goes out in what is essentially a gigantic room with no carpets, solid concrete and steel reinforcement. So now you're sitting there, 2 o'clock in the morning, in freezing temperatures. And you can't leave because the doors are on a magnetic lock and you're essentially locked in to a gigantic fucking freezer.
Shit.
Yeah. I developed laryngitis after that. That was fun.
Yeah, well, like I said, I just struggled in vain to get my power back on, and after tinkering with a fuse box for a while, I just sort of decided, fuck, I'll just give up, and since I couldn't do anything else, I just went to bed. And when I woke up, like, funny thing, I think it was like 12 hours later. I think it wasn't that late when the power went out in my house. So yeah, I woke up around 7 a.m., I go back into the garage, see if I can tinker with a fuse box, and I get the power back.
Oh.
So yeah, it couldn't, and just in time too, because we almost did not have a stream.
Oh well.
Yep.
Yeah, and not only that, it's just like it could not have like I said, it could not have happened better because. Unfortunately, my my phone line got disconnected behind on a phone bill, which I will fix. But so I couldn't even get through the LTE to contact you guys, as if anything couldn't be fixed. So yeah,
screwed.
Pretty much, yeah. And not only that, my phone's battery was down to like 30% when I woke up. And
if I had to try and run a stream on any sort of mobile data plan, I'd get. I'd rather not just say. Let's just put it this way: it'll be expensive.
Dude, I couldn't.
It'll be expensive.
Tank, I can't. I couldn't. Do that. I couldn't even do that at this point. Like, dude, my line. Like I said, line disconnected. I can't use the LTE.
Yeah, no, I get that.
Connecting through Wi-Fi is the only thing my phone can do now.
Yeah, no, I get that. It's just I'm literally saying if I have to use any sort of mobile data connection, because living in a wonderful third world country where pretty much majority of everything is controlled by the state, parastatals, the supposed spectrum auction that was meant to go ahead by ICASA, the Independent Communications Authority of South Africa, never went ahead because the government still haven't figured out how they can profit from it. So the spectrum of all the various bits and bobs like LTE, 5G, and whatever else doodads they want to get going has not happened because, well, greed. So we are still paying at this point in time. We are paying for, if I want to buy a gig of data now, that'll be around 150 Rand for 1 gig.
Let me just,
So
if I do the conversion,
that's around,
let me see, 150. You said 150, right?
yeah, 150 at
That's
current
a lot.
exchange is
That's
$13.6.
$11. It's a little over $11.20 US.
Yeah, and from what I gather, that's actually fucking expensive.
Matt, have you ever $11 for 1 gig?
No, I haven't. Huh.
But wait, there's more. That 1 gig is only valid for a month.
Oh, right, yeah.
Then it expires. So even if you don't use that whole 1 gig, it expires at the end of the month, which means
Use or
gone.
lose it.
yes. Wonderful, is it not?
Fuck.
Yeah. And that said, as for all the other wonderful shit that happens down the side in terms of internet, fiber gets rolled out to everywhere except we've got fiber. We literally have fiber installed outside, but we can't get it because here's the kick in the teeth. It's fucking business fiber in a residential area.
So they can't even use them.
Well, you can if you.
If it's
We're
bus-
talking for a 20 meg fiber line, not even the good stuff, just 20 meg fiber line with a 200 gig cap. You are looking at $3,000 a month.
Yikes.
Yeah, it's fucking fun.
All right.
That is the joys of all this shit.
All right, so moving on. There was just something there was an exchange I just recently had with Nerd Wonder that was, let's just say, kind of eye-opening for me.
Oh boy.
Okay, so everyone's kind of up to date on the shit surrounding Vic Mignogna.
Yeah.
Stop paying attention because I just read it more as more fucking listen and believe bullshit.
Okay, so here's her take on it. Should I try doing her voice?
Please don't. I
No.
might just have to find a way to get to the States and rip your vocal cords out.
No, I have to. I'll just try imitating her cadence. Hearing a lot of chatter about the Vic stuff. Someone mentioned that his fans always seem to be like a cult. I know why. This is not Vic's fault. Female fan bases have a high chance of being crazy hives, like Steven Universe and Voltron. I don't think he was responsible for that. Now, here's my response. I always figured my comic had a high chance of having a mostly female fan base, and now that possibility terrifies me. Here's what she says in response. Here's the key thing you need to do, which every fan base has failed to do and thus created toxic female behavior, and she capitalized those last 3 words.
Interesting.
Tell them no. When you witness this nutty stuff in your fan base, be stern and tell them no.
Honestly,
There's still more. When you put it that way, female fan bases sound like a bunch of lonely girls in need of a proper father figure. She says, could be. I respond, oh God, things are starting to make sense. We need to bring back dad. # make dads great again.
The joys of modern whatever the fuck wave feminism they are now.
honestly, Vic Mignogna had a target for a long time.
Yeah, but no, yeah, I know. But still, it's just like that one thing. This is like, oh my God. It's like when you actually think about that possibility, I mean, doesn't a lot of the behavior make a lot of sense now?
Yeah, it
Honestly,
does.
I'm going to say that in part, his whole takedown is over more likely over the fact that he refuses to sign yaoi pictures. Because when I used to go on anime convention forums, that was a key thing that they were complaining about. He does not like yaoi. He does not like signing yaoi pictures. He does not endorse the Ed Al relationship.
Okay, so he's being crucified because he has his own fucking opinion. He doesn't follow a hive mind.
Yep.
Possibly, but it's just like, but dude, I mean, you just factor that in, and it's just like, God damn! It's just like I said, it just makes so much sense.
And honestly, if those pictures that popped up, that's basically what's destroyed him. People are looking at those pictures and going, "That's really creepy," especially with the stories that are going attached to it.
Allegedly.
Yeah, it's always allegedly, but hey, listen and believe. Anyways, guys, I'll be back in a bit. I'm going to go eat first.
Okay.
All right. It's just like, but dude, I mean, just like when you think, but dude, I mean, like, just think about that. Like, all these mostly female fan bases, like, how many of these girls either have absent fathers or really bad ones?
I'm not gonna go there.
I'm just thinking this is something that needs to be studied. This is something that needs to be investigated. Because this explains so much if it's true. Well, I mean, like, it's well documented how it affects young men when they don't have a proper father figure.
Yeah.
So honestly, are we also gonna say that young women not having a dad in their life doesn't affect them in a negative way?
It's possible, but honestly, I'm just not going to make assumptions that it's a result of a dad not being in their life. It could be other factors.
I don't know. It's just the way that Nerd Wonder told me how you handle them. That just makes it, dude. It just makes way too much sense. Like, you basically have to be dad with them.
I'm just gonna say anything that someone says on Twitter, I'm gonna take with a grain of salt. To be honest, that's there's like a reason off of Twitter that usually seems to lead to a bad time.
I don't know. I mean, on the one hand, I don't disagree with you. Like I said, on the one hand, I don't disagree with you. You should not take a hot take on Twitter as fact, but like I said, like, it's just like when I connected those two dots, like I said, it just a whole lot of shit, just a whole lot of bad behavior. Like, it's like, wow. Like, it's just like, when you find when you hit something and it's like, oh, this just makes way too much sense.
Yeah, so comics.
It's kind of comic related.
Because, this seems like it's going to be the kind of conversation that'll lead to another strike.
Okay, fine. Besides, I think we kind of thoroughly explored that subject about as well as we could, because, like I said, I'm just saying, it needs to be studied, yo. So I saw a diversity in comics video while I was making breakfast. Well, I say was watching it while I was making breakfast. Really, I had it on in the background.
Okay.
And it was that one where he was talking about, like, how when people started noticing the SJW infestation in the comics industry, it was already too late to save it.
Well, yeah, when you have someone like Joe Quesada, who's a terrible editor, that's going to be what's going to kill comics. It's not. I really don't think it's going to be the SJW thing. It's going to be bad editorial decisions by people who hate the fans, i.e., Joe Quesada with his One More Day idea.
Yeah, but at the same time, okay,
Hold
yeah,
on,
look, Joe
hold on,
Quesada.
hold on. It's this whole thing that characters cannot move on and grow up, such as they're never going to let Peter Parker go from the sarcastic teenager to this to a grown adult because it's not. They're going to see that as losing their moneymaker. They're in stagnation right now. And now you can go.
Okay. One More Day was a terrible idea and all Joe Quesada's fault. I don't think anyone's going to argue that point. But on the one hand, the Marvel Ultimate line did happen under Joe Quesada, and he did, and at least early on during his tenure as editor-in-chief, he did make a lot of good business decisions for the company. You can say whatever you want about him, about what he turned into later down the line, but I don't think you can deny that early on he was doing a lot of good for it.
Yeah, to a point. I think at a point he realized that when he fucked up, but when he got promoted, I'm pretty sure the real Joe Quesada came out again.
Yeah.
Especially if this all these really dumb ideas like destroying the Marvel Universe, replacing Marvel history. And I don't think it's so much C.V. Cebulski calling us out as Joe Quesada because he's on a creative level. I think he's above the editor-in-chief. I'm going to look up right now.
Well, if anything, if not, he's probably well within the corporate leadership.
Yeah, he's the chief creative officer.
Yeah. So in other words, he signs off on all the decisions that the comics do.
Yep, and that happened back in 2011.
Yep. Which was around the same time Axel Alonso took over as editor-in-chief.
Yep, and the descent began. So this is all Joe Quesada's fault.
Yeah.
Actually,
Yeah, and I guess he's probably had the luxury of putting guys in charge who will agree with him. Like, let's face it, Axel Alonso pretty much agrees with him on everything.
Yep.
And C.B. Cebulski, that I don't know what is holding that man together, but it's not a spine.
No, he's just doing what he thinks his job is.
He's a chair warmer at best.
Yep.
He's about as much of a yes man as you could get.
Yep. And another problem was that they really don't see when to give. They don't see when to let writers hang up their coats and be done, such as with Brian Michael Bendis. He was starting to show the wear and tear of the years. But instead of slowing him down, they gave him more work. And I have a feeling that's in part what happened to him was that they overworked him.
Well, it's like, what else did they have? It's like it was about the only moneymaker they had. I think they kind of knew that the SJWs they hired on the cheap were talentless. Like, they knew nobody was going to buy these books.
Yeah, then they lost them. Good job, Marvel.
Yeah, so now, oh, fuck, the same thing's going to end up happening to Donny Cates, I guarantee it.
More than likely. Basically, if you're a writer, stay away from Marvel. they're going to milk you dry.
Let's attach an asterisk to that. If you're a good writer,
Sure.
yeah. If you're a good writer, stay away from Marvel. Because once they see that you can write, that you can, actually write a good story, you can actually make the money, and they look at the people you're surrounded by, who have no business being there. They're just gonna work you to death because you're about the only one that makes the money.
Yeah, and I have a feeling that that's what's going to happen with Eve Ewing. Unlike, for the most part, I wasn't someone who is I wasn't much of a detractor of her working on Ironheart.
Uh-huh.
I had more of a let's wait and see kind of.
I was a bit more neutral in it. I was a bit more neutral in it too, because on the one hand, I could see the arguments for not hiring her, but yeah, it was but for the most part, I just didn't really care.
Yeah, it's kind of like taking some random person. For the people who were against it, I can see why they were against it, because it looked like they were taking some random people off the street just to write a character because they looked like them.
Mm-hmm. But no, she actually proved herself.
Yeah, and I think everyone thought that she'd suck at because of Gabby Rivera.
Well, not just that. It's like she had... Actually, did Gabby Rivera not have a background in comics either? I don't think she did.
No, she didn't. America was her first comic.
Yeah, okay, so yeah. Okay, yeah, but the difference was that unlike Gabby Rivera, Eve Ewing actually took the time to learn about her subject and actually took time to learn how to write a comic. She had it. Now, you can tell there's been some growing pains. There's some obvious ones. But for a first attempt, she hasn't done bad.
Yeah, and at least, and it's doing a lot better than Iceman too, which isn't really saying much, but
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, but yeah, I've also developed a wait and see on Captain Marvel.
You talking about the movie?
Yeah.
I got no... I don't know. I got no interest in seeing it. It just looks... It doesn't look like anything I want to go see.
To be honest, it looks like the typical superhero movie. So I really don't see why they're making such a big fuss over it, since Wonder Woman was... Well, if you want to get be technical, Supergirl was the first female superhero movie.
You are correct, but nobody talks about Supergirl because that movie was awful.
Wonder Woman was the first good female-led superhero movie.
God damn, that's actually depressing.
Yep. But then again, they had potential with Catwoman if they were to do it the original way, which was have Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman right after Batman Returns. Because
by the time they got around to the Halle Berry movie, like Michelle Pfeiffer was already past her prime, I think.
Yeah, unfortunately. So they could have found another one, because one of the biggest problems with Catwoman was how it was a Catwoman movie in name only. It wasn't about Selena Kyle. It was about...
Wasn't even about Holly Robinson.
Yeah, it was about a random character in I don't even think it was in Gotham. It was it's almost like they took someone else's screenplay for another movie that's completely unrelated to Catwoman, the character, and they decided to make it a DC movie.
Yeah, it's just like, oh man, it's like you have to wonder how that movie ever got greenlit.
Halle Berry was a big star back then.
That is true. I remember that much, but just like, were they banking that much on just her star power alone? Like they, I guess it's kind of a testament to how far comic book movies have come.
Well, it actually it's more along lines of the ups and downs of comic book movies because the very first good superhero movie was Superman.
It is actually, I think it was the first. No, wait, no, I'm wrong. There was that one movie for the Adam West Batman TV show.
Yeah, and there's also the Batman and Superman serials which were shown in theaters.
Yeah, do we really count those though?
Probably not. But it was. I watched. So Rift they did a Mystery Science Theater 3000 20th anniversary reunion special, and one of the shorts they did was a Superman short about war bonds, or some kind of bonds.
When do we get the feeling it's full of slap-a-jab racism?
Oh no, it wasn't. It was just, you can't believe this pudgy man can fly.
I don't know. I'm just surprised. Like it's set World War II, and there's no talk about buying war bonds, and it's not talking about beating them dirty Krauts or Japs.
No, it's all about investments. Superman was talking about investments with a story about saving Lois Lane.
Oh my God, that's so silly.
At one point, Superman receives a letter. The joke that was sent out to it was, "Dear Clark, I can't believe our mothers were named Martha." Oh, we'll stop that, Bruce.
Yeah.
But yeah, just. It was also funny seeing how far our technology has gone, because back then, a portable typewriter was considered to be the most advanced tool for a writer possible. And now, some 80 years later, we've got laptops. We've got phones that we could write on.
Yeah, I know. It's just... But yeah, I mean, like, to bring it back to Captain Marvel, and like, I'm more interested in seeing Shazam than I am Captain Marvel, just because, Shazam at least looks like it's trying to have fun with its premise.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm probably going to watch Captain Marvel after they come out with the Rift commentary for it.
That'll be fun.
Yeah. And I think that might be one of the more interesting ones for the comments from certain fans, because apparently they don't like Mike Nelson because he's a Republican.
That'll be funny.
Yeah. There are some people who just have an outright hatred of him simply because he does not vote the same way as they do. But he's never pushed his politics on anyone.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I was talking with my buddy Dante over my podcast last night, and we sort of had this sort of same discussion of when you got a superhero movie and the character's really young, it's probably for the best that you play that you just kind of have fun with it, because it's like the thing with Spider-Man Homecoming, I hadn't seen it, but he told me for the most part it did sort of keep a sense of fun to it. Had a couple serious moments, but for the most part it was having fun.
Yeah, but there are some moments where I thought they went too far, such as this is probably going to be one of those Joss Whedon-inspired moments when you have Happy Hogan talking to Peter in the bathroom, and he's about to give his heartfelt speech, and then you hear someone flushing the toilet, and that's what he's interrupted by. This long toilet flush.
Yeah, a lot. DC kind of seems to have gotten away from that because they realized that wasn't working. So, like, I don't know. Just like I said, all I'm really going by is the trailer. But the vibe I got from it was the vibe I sort of got from Shazam was that I'm not really sure how to put it. It reminds me of like a. Actually, I got the vibe. It reminds me of Saturday morning cartoons I grew up with when I was a kid.
Yeah, it's actually Shazam really gives me the vibe of Big.
Actually,
Tom
yeah.
Hanks movie.
Oh yeah, you're right. Fuck, that is basically what it is. It's Big with superpowers.
Yep. Now, can you imagine this being made in the 80s with Tom Hanks in the lead role?
Wow. Yeah, this is just like that just makes that makes a lot more sense than what I was saying. It's like it's big with capes.
Yep. It's it has to be fun.
Yeah.
They can't do it any other way, otherwise they'll be awful.
Yeah, I mean, come on, like that's the thing with Billy though as a character. Like he's always like no matter how bad his bad circumstances would get for him, Billy always sort of kept an upbeat attitude.
Yeah.
When you think about it, that kid's got every reason to be depressed. I mean, like he's an orphan. And I mean, according to the trailer, it seems like he's been bounced around from one foster home to the next. Like he's never had it's probably been a long time since he's had a stable home and family. And yet he's not some. And yet he's still kind of innocent. He's still kind of happy. He's still kind of he still tries to find the bright side.
Very different from how they approached Superman.
I think it was sort of like on the one. It kind of felt like was Man of Steel. Like they were trying, like at least when they were going through Clark's childhood, it felt like they were trying to condense everything from Smallville. Because I remember like a big part of Smallville was like it was in the pilot, and it was just more Clark kind of bitching about like how he hated that he wasn't normal. Because I remember like he stuck his hand into the wood chipper, and the only thing that got shredded was his shirt, and he just says to his dad, "I'd give anything to be normal."
Yeah, I think the biggest problem with Man of Steel was that it came on the heel end of Green Lantern's failure and the Dark Knight trilogy success.
Yeah.
So Warner looked at it the wrong way. They saw it as DC movies did their dark, while light-hearted DC movies will not work.
Yeah, but there were a lot of other reasons that Green Lantern didn't work. But also, let's not pretend that that some of Smallville's influence didn't creep into it.
No, it was a very influential show. But to be honest, it's possible that it didn't have any influence at all.
It's possible. I don't know. It's just like that whole scene with it's just that whole sequence with Clark's childhood. Just like I said, it just gave me Smallville vibes.
Yeah, but
especially early Smallville.
Yeah, but you remember what I said about Warner Brothers and the difference between their film and TV
Yeah, I know.
performance?
I know you pointed that out, but you're not gonna. But don't tell me that the writers don't watch each. Don't tell me the writers don't look at each other's work.
It's possible. It's also possible that if it's possible that they probably looked at as, what if this kid didn't want to be Superman?
I mean,
You know, it sounds. Go on.
I was gonna say, like, if that's the case, I mean, like, I could. That's not exactly a bad route to go. Like, seeing Clark sort of grow into the role rather than just embracing it outright.
Yep. I think it's one of the reasons why I prefer the old Willy Wonka and Chocolate Factory in comparison to Charlie and Chocolate Factory, because with Charlie in Willy Wonka, you actually felt like he was a real kid. He did he was self at times. While in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, the kid was too good. He was too nice. He was too perfect. And that just making characters that are too perfect, that turns the audience off them. It prevents them from establishing any kind of connection with the character.
Uh-huh.
And that's one of the reasons why we're losing comics. A lot of the comic writers seem to think that people want perfect characters who are always good and honest. And no, they want what the audience wants are characters they can connect with. And I'm going to say, as an Asian, I did not connect with Totally Awesome Hulk.
Well, to be fair, is Amadeus Cho even Vietnamese? To be honest,
I think he's supposed to be Chinese, but let's be honest.
I don't know. Cho also sounds like it could be Korean.
True, but either way, Asians came from the same continent.
Yeah, but I also happen to know that Asians don't like each other.
Oh no, especially everyone just does not like the Chinese.
Chinese hate the Japanese. Koreans hate the Japanese. Like seriously. Like, I'm not. Yeah, like that. Yeah, this is something I happen to know. Like Asians, they are super nationalistic.
Are you trying to say that Japan's the kid in the corner that goes "fuck you all"?
Pretty much, it is. Yeah, it's just like to be fair. I think there's a little. It's just. But yeah, that's the sort of the thing. Like I said, like the Asians, they're very nationalistic people. Koreans are Koreans. Chinese are Chinese. Japanese are Japanese. They don't think of themselves as one group.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, I'm not sure how many people know this, but there are people out in Japan who have a little Korean ancestry in them. They're kind of treated like second-class citizens.
Oh, yeah.
And those are other Asians. Imagine if you're a Japanese kid who's half white.
Well, at least in Japan, if they're being snobbish towards you, at least they're being polite about it. You know, unlike the French.
Yeah, but that's just the French. That's just how they are. They're snobs to everybody.
And French Canadians. Yeah, but it's also kind of funny how I look at people using the argument that America's stolen land, but they're ignoring the fact that it is, in a way I kind of want to write a comic about this, but the history of humanity is about conquering new lands.
Yeah, just find one person. Find one ethnic group or nationality or whatever that did not try taking land from another group.
I mean,
The history of humanity is one of conflict and struggle.
Yeah, and Japan did not belong to the Japanese at first. They came over. They were one of. This is what is thought of historically, that Japan was sold by a fleet of ships from China that was sent out to discover try to discover a way of gaining immortality for the Chinese emperor. And rather than coming back in shame, they preferred to populate an island and conquer the inhabitants. Inhabitants.
I mean, fuck, natives out here talk about how they were here before the white man, which is technically true, but they always leave out the fact that their ancestors came from Siberia.
Yeah, it's all about everyone immigrates, basically.
Yeah. That would actually make for an interesting comic, though. Just sort of like, I'd probably remove it from, if I was going to do something like that, I'd probably kind of remove it from general human history and just make it sort of like a chronicle of alien history or something.
Or maybe a fantasy world.
Yeah, something that's sort of, something that sort of kind of disconnects it from the real world, so that if you're sharp, you can kind of see, oh, that's what it's all about. But otherwise it flies over everyone else's head.
Yep.
Leave a fuck. No, sorry. It's just fucking hot here.
This is funny. Briz in the chat says, my favorite comic was the manga Bible, Fight Me. I didn't even know it was a thing.
Oh, yeah. They did a bunch of.
Oh, God. I can only imagine how silly that is.
I think it all started with the manga version of Buddha.
Speaking of which, do you guys know about a manga called Saint Young Men?
What?
Can't say that I do.
It's a manga that stars Jesus and Buddha and their roommates living in Japan.
Sounds like it's more respectful than Second Coming.
It is. In fact, the mangaka, he actually went out of her way to make sure it was respectful towards both Christians and Buddhists.
But see, that's the whole thing. I mean, their whole society based around respectful treatment of people and cultures. Although from what I've heard, that some Japanese do tend to get a little bit, how should I put this, pissy towards foreigners. But when they try to portray it in their media as a, say, mangas or anime, they tend to try to be respectful, which is why we are now seeing that some of these people, a la Sword Art Online, are trying to accommodate the fucking blue-haired feminist bastards.
Huh.
Please, Tank, please do not tell me that Sword Art Online is red pill, because I'm not sure my brain can.
No, it's not. From what I've heard, from people that have watched it, it is pretty much. It was one step removed from being complete SJW propaganda, but now that they have, quote unquote, bent the knee, they've now gone full blown identity and bullshit politics.
I don't know. I'm still not buying it, just because I'm still not buying it that they're trying to bend the knee to blue hairs.
Now,
because
let me add a caveat.
Yeah.
This was based on Twitter outrage.
All right. Yeah, there we go. Because, like I said, because I know for a fact Japan's attitude toward Japan is, let's just not get around it. It's xenophobic. They're very insular. They don't really
Gee, they got something very much in common with my country.
Yeah.
I'm just going to point out something.
Yeah.
You see all the weeaboos who are out there saying that claiming that Japan won't understand them?
That's so cute. That is cute.
Yeah, not gonna
Yeah,
happen.
like I said, look, Japan. Japan. They have a word for foreigners. It's called gaijin, and it's not supposed to. And it's actually meant to in a derogatory manner, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it's an insult. I know that much. Same as the Chinese now with their own.
Anyone who's non-Japanese, they call them gaijin.
Yes, because you're not Japanese.
Yeah, exactly. That's the whole point. It's an insult to non-Japanese people, and like I even have it on good authority. Like they will. I mean, okay, like Matt said earlier, like when Japanese are rude to you, they try to be polite about it. So like they won't give you the finger; they'll just treat you like a child.
Yeah, no, it's just the whole funny shit about it is just my Twitter feed was lit up with people going on about now that these guys have bent the knee, this is going to ruin anime and all those things, and the whole thing with Sony Entertainment moving their headquarters to California. You know what? I think at the end of the day, Sony Japan just decide, you know what? Fuck it. Let's give these guys as much rope as we can and let them fucking hang themselves with it. Then we'll just quietly cut the cord from our side.
That's possible. That is possible, especially with like, let's be honest, with how Crunchyroll has been handling their subs.
Yeah. You know, I'm going to say something about the whole Vic getting fired from Ruby. It's not so much about Rooster Teeth bending the knee as is that the public image of Vic is now just so poisoned by this whole ordeal that as a small company, they can't afford to associate with him anymore.
Well, it's possible. I mean, but at the end of the day, the character, well, who did he voice? Crow, if I remember correctly?
Yep, Crow, Edward from Fullmetal Alchemist.
No, we're talking about Ruby.
He's not exactly, how should we put this? An interesting character.
Really?
Well, they're not going to kill him off.
No, I know they're not going to kill him off. It's just I never found Crow to be. Yeah, he's a badass in fights, but really,
Apparently, he was going to be voiced by Monty Oum and was going to be a different character.
Wow.
Yeah, but that kind of got fucking scuttled.
Yeah. Well, it's also it was also scuttled. It's kind of fun. It's kind of interesting how things turned out because he was also going to voice Ozpin.
Ouch.
Well, then he realized he couldn't do it because of how much he was working. So,
yeah,
in a way, that would have been Scald anyway.
Yeah. Look.
Hey, excuse me while I just get a gigantic fucking bug out of my room.
Did not need to hear that. Okay.
Gigantic as in dragonfly that somehow got lost into my room and it's now fucking trying to get out because I turned the air conditioner on.
Of course. Wait, aren't bugs attracted to heat? Fuck, what do I know about bugs?
Oh, it could be something about. It could be a South African thing.
Who knows?
But
yeah, then again, I'm probably thinking of mosquitoes. Those will those will look for any heat source they can find.
And flies.
Oh yeah. Still, it's like, yeah, I think Tank's probably right though that Japanese like anime studios and shit like they're going to quote unquote accommodate the blue hairs, and then they're gonna let them hang themselves, and then quietly cut the cord, and then it's like, no more anime, all because you SJWs wouldn't stop. You ruined it for everybody.
To be honest, I don't think there's ever going to be an end to anime because it's not so much a genre as it is that it's.
Oh no! I mean, like you're gonna stop seeing them distributed out in the West.
Oh, okay, yeah. I mean, they already got burned by Harmony Gold.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why we don't get any more Macross series out here.
Nope. All we get is a couple of comics titles for Robotech, and that's about it because Harmony Gold cannot keep up an animation project.
Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. But yeah, it's like they're just gonna kind of wildly cut the cord on this side, and it's just like, yeah, it's the end of the Western anime industry. Well, at least until the ship gets righted, because you know what, it's probably gonna be for a while. There's just probably gonna be this period for like a few years where there's just like no new anime coming in, being distributed in the West.
I think that depends on whether or not it's still profitable.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just like I said, this is just how I see it going. Like they're gonna, like, a lot of the studios are just gonna cut off the supply line, at least like to the West, and like it's just gonna be for like a while.
You know what? No, yeah, you know something I noticed. Funimation took,
And I'm back.
I'm back.
What were you saying?
So Funimation took Gintama off of their streaming, not the series, just the episodes.
Hey, guys. I got a line on some popping hot cringe fresh off the presses from Marvel.
Oh boy. What was it? A third miniseries from Iceman?
There you go. Share it with the chat so everybody can share in it.
Crap. You know what? I'm gonna screen share this because if I have to suffer through it, so do the viewers.
Oh, this was expected.
But you
Powers of a Girl is out today. The Power Pack book dives into the world and stories behind all your favorite women of the Marvel Universe. Get it here.
In and of itself, it might not be that bad, but gee, let's look at the selection on the front.
Look who they got on the front cover. It's none of the ones that act. Well, okay, let me rephrase this. They have Carol Danvers. They have Black Widow. Those two are big. The rest are a bunch of are a bunch of bitches who don't matter.
Well, Spider-Gwen. Yeah,
Spider-Gwen is a meme. Spider-Gwen is a meme. Okay? Spider-Gwen was built on a meme.
I thought that was Gwenpool.
I'm saying it.
Like Gwenpool is supposedly a parody of Deadpool. Gwenpool is a shitty parody that's actually a good parody.
It's just like, oh my god, the shit they did with Gwen Stacy. It's like they took it way too far.
Yeah, are you trying? Hey, Tank, are you trying to say that Gwenpool is an Inception parody?
Yes,
a parody of a parody of a parody.
No. Yes. I say Gwenpool is the comics version of Don Quixote.
No, I'm pointing out that it's a parody of a parody of a parody.
The way Troy has stated it, he made Gwenpool as a parody of Gwenpool, who in turn is a parody of Deadpool. And Deadpool is incidentally a parody, if it is to be believed, of Deathstroke.
Well, more like he was originally a rip-off of Deathstroke that evolved into a parody of Deathstroke.
But Deadpool is funny. Gwenpool is not funny. Juan is funny.
There have been a couple bad Deadpool comics. That's not.
Yeah, that depends on the writer.
Let me put it this way: when Deadpool's at his best, when it balances the comedy with the drama, like when writers are just making Deadpool all about just one joke after another, pop culture, fourth wall breaks. Like some of them can get a bit overwhelming. It's when the writer knows when to pull back and actually let Wade be a character. That's when he's at his best.
Yeah, I've on the topic of superheroes and parody heroes and everything, I've tried for the life of me, but I just cannot come up with a Afrikaner or Afrikaans superhero. It just doesn't work. It doesn't work.
Well, why wouldn't it? Why would it work? There's nothing in South Africa worth saving.
Not entirely. I mean, you can save the wildlife and everything. I mean, if you make a nature-based superhero, but yeah. No, it's just, even if you look at everything, the local tribes, everything, the cultures, it just does not lend itself to any sort of, and even if you come up with names, it's just going to sound so silly. It just unfortunately will not work.
Super heroics just do not work in South Africa. Wow.
It doesn't.
That's
Although you can make funny, you can make funny fucking memes of how Superman saves people and fights crime everywhere except Brakpan, because fuck that place.
That's depressing, yo.
To put it in perspective, Brakpan is like the Florida of South Africa.
So you have all the crazies doing the crazy crimes.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just like but it's just like, man. About the only
And
time
if
I can remember there even being a comic that took place in South Africa was this one issue of what was it? It was Brian K. Vaughan. It was his Mystique series, and there was like, it was sort of like a spy sort of thriller kind of deal, and Mystique was on a mission in Johannesburg.
Yeah. Also, that whole scene with Avengers: Age of Ultron, that Wakanda that was shot in Johannesburg. Yeah. That's all this place is good for. Fucking shut up.
Yep.
Yeah. Actually, there was a bit of a funny story, funny scene in that same issue of Mystique. She's with her handler, and he's talking about how, like, Johannesburg is the city of hope, and she asks him, "Is there any place on the planet you don't like being in?" And he says,
Where the fuck did this answer come from?
"Hold up, just give me a second."
Portland, Seattle, take your pick.
She asks him, is there any place in the world you don't like being in? And he just says, Pittsburgh. No,
well, I have to add a caveat. Depends on where in Johannesburg you go, because yeah. But then I'd show you some very, very hard, this is degenerated place, Bad Park, places like that. Even as far back as the early 90s, they were relatively nice looking areas, but now they are completely.
Does it look like
Detroit level? Detroit level decay.
Or Fallout?
Think you know the abandoned areas in Detroit.
Yeah.
Think that.
Dude,
think literally that level of fucked up decay where nothing gets maintained anymore. Everything has just gone to hell in a handbasket and nobody fucking cares. They were gigantic. What was it? I think they were made from brass or something. Brass statues or something. That, beautiful statues and everything. Completely gone. The parks, everything stripped of anything metal, because we have a large scrap metal. How should we put this?
Black market.
Syndicate. Yeah, black market and syndicates that specialize in stealing scrap metal from everywhere. We actually have, believe it or not, gangs roaming streets looking for exposed copper pipes on the outside of houses, where they literally climb into the yards, steal all your copper piping from off your wall out that's exposed and outside, your taps, everything, so they can go sell it to the shady ass scrap metal dealers. Yeah.
Jeez.
It's the funniest shit ever. I mean, come on. And at the end of the day, what has been found out when people actually go and do investigations on these scrap metal dealers, they actually sell it to the money they give the people is like 25 to 40% below market value. So you go and steal shit, you still get done in. Crime, even if it does pay, still doesn't fucking pay.
Nope.
God damn, wow.
Yeah. But people don't care because that means they got their money for their cheap ass booze and whatever, or Wunga or whatever the fucking drug of the week is. Essentially, what Wunga is, it's something they smoke. Think crack cocaine, but not. It's made with some nasty shit. More often than not, it's cut with stuff like battery acid or ammonia or stuff like that.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So people who smoke it, it's like meth. Their mouth rots. It looks pretty damn horrible, and it's one of those drugs that gives people a very, very aggressive high.
I'd almost say South Africa would probably benefit from legalizing pot.
No, we won't, because they have legalized pot to a degree, and it's not helping.
Let me guess. It's legalized for medicinal purposes only.
No, actually, you are perfectly fine. You can grow it. You can smoke it. You can do whatever the fuck you want. You're just not allowed to sell it, and it's not allowed to leave your private property.
Oh.
So you can have an entire fucking grow in your backyard, but it's not allowed to leave.
Oh, so legal to grow, legal to own, but you just can't sell it.
Yeah. The only reason why is because government still has not figured out how to make money off of it.
What? My state did that. It's taxed.
It sounds like your government's
Yeah.
retarded.
But seriously, it's not hard to make money off. It's not hard.
Matt, that's an insult to people with mental
that's
problems.
Yeah,
It
that's
is not
true.
hard to- it is not hard to make money for the government to make money off pot. You just tax it.
No. See, for them, it's not a case of just taxing it. They don't want some of the money. They want all the fucking money.
Oh.
They want to be the sole proprietors, as it were.
Okay, then. How about this? They just they subsidize it.
So by subsidizing it, that means they lose money. Less money going to back pocket.
Subsidize means they can keep the lion's share of the profits.
But it's not all the profits.
Jesus.
You have to understand how the fucking corrupt people in this country work. If they can't make all the money, nobody makes money.
It's just wow. It's just like, like people talk about how corrupt our government is, man, and it's true. But it's just like, at least they're more pragmatic about it.
The United States government is corrupt. South African government. Hold my sorghum beer.
Yep. It's really insane how their minds work over there.
Yeah, like I said, yeah, sure, our government's corrupt as fuck, but at least they let us make money, and then they just take most of it.
See, that's the whole thing. What you have to understand is the ANC's entire methodology is they're trying to be China. They see that China is,
Oh boy.
in massive air quotes, democratic, but they're still fucking socialist and highly Marxist communist underneath.
Look, China's in
They-
this weird transitional phase where they got capitalism for all the rich people, but everyone else is still living under communism.
Yeah, no, that's exactly where they're trying to go, which is why you have absolute fucking idiots like Julius Malema and the EFF.
Yeah.
But anyway, enough of shit this side in terms of politics. On comics, I've actually now read one of the next fulfillments I received from crowdfunding, Guinevere and the Divinity Factory, and that's very fucking good. I really liked it.
Yeah. I got a review cover from Press, and I plan on reading it later today. And because he told me to tell him what I thought about it, and it's just like, fuck, just based on, I haven't read it, but just based on the art alone, it's at least, I haven't read it, but it's at least a good looking book. You can say that much about it. I can say that much at this point.
The story backs the art up. The writing just adds to it. The art in it of itself is amazing. You could sell that, take the dialogue away and just sell it as an art book. That alone will sell, but the story with it, the writing really makes it shine. The creative talent behind this one was well worth it.
Yeah, it's just kind of I'm not surprised. I mean, given the position Preston's in, I'm not surprised he was able to tap an artist of that caliber because, like, it's crowdfunded, it's independent, but it looks professional.
It's very professional. I would easily say this is on par of where Marvel and DC used to be. Not the shit that they're peddling now.
I would say, in terms of just sheer artistic merit, it's as good as Cyberfrog artistically.
Well, to be honest, I don't think we should. Artistically, we can make comments on it. Story-wise, I don't think so because it's not out yet.
Yeah, no, like I said, it's just like I'm just saying Preston.
Based on the art, it's looking good. I mean,
Preston's guy is as good as Ethan.
Yeah. Oh, look, I mean, that's the one thing. I mean, you can't fault art. If you try to do that, I would have to say that you should go deliver yourself to your nearest mental institution that still provides lobotomies.
Well, there's a bunch of people in the anti-comics gate community that say that the art's horrible.
They don't know.
Look, at the end of the day, taste is subjective. But
yeah, it is. But there is an objective standard for what constitutes good art. Like,
not really. Have you seen some of the webcomics out there? I remind you, Tumblr was a thing.
There is a way to tell what is objectively good art.
So
yes.
It's not all just down to taste.
Yeah. So here's something interesting. Despite the creator of Rurouni Kenshin getting a fine for having child pornography on his hard drive, Rurouni Kenshin is still getting so much more attention, and it's part of the new game Jump Force.
Wow.
Okay, because the people who make it actually managed to separate the person who did shitty shit from the art.
Yep.
Now,
so
if only DC could do that, because like I don't know if you guys remember this, but back in the day, DC actually had a go at a Shadow series. Like it wasn't a mini series; it was actually supposed to be a long running Shadow series. And then later on, it came out that the writer actually had kiddie porn on his hard drive too, and they just stopped printing that book.
Yeah, look, I can understand where they're coming from with it because Western sensibilities and everything is slightly different. But at the end of the day, yeah. Look, when I get around to it, when I look at what was that band? What's the Lost Prophets?
Oh yeah, the lead singer had kiddie porn too.
No, he was actually convicted of.
Really?
Yeah. He went whole hog.
Jeez.
I'm confused. Wait. Did you say none of which he was convicted of?
No, he was convicted of the actual act.
Oh, he did. He went one worse.
Yeah, he went whole hog. He went all in. He just decided, fuck it all.
Yeah.
The kind of person
for that reason, I mean, it's funny how when you listen to certain of their songs, once you hear things like this, it's the same as you read certain things, you find out. Let's see, Joss Whedon with his a rather interesting take on the word nubile, how it puts certain scenes and things from some of the stories as TV shows into a, how should I put this, much grimmer perspective.
Oh boy, yeah.
Yeah.
Same idea here. You re-listen to some of these songs, knowing what the fuck has happened. You're sitting there. Yeah, it's puts in new context, and the whole thing with Borderlands 2, seeing as old Randy Pitchford allegedly, well, even though he did confirm it, or his lawyer did, it puts certain scenes from that game with certain characters into a grim perspective as well.
Tiny Tina.
And Angel herself, the siren, which you fight and take out at the end. Yeah. Yeah. So, see, that's the whole problem, because the one thing that I can say about Rurouni Kenshin, what I remember of it, nothing that I remember from the show remotely touched on things like that.
Well, to be honest, the main romantic story was between a 16-year-old and a 30-year-old, but that could be separated because of the time.
Yeah, it was Japan at the
The
time.
time, and
That was
also, let's just take a look at this. I just want to make sure that I get my facts straight on this one.
Also, I mean, like at this, also at the same time, I mean, like I'm pretty sure the dub probably aged up Kaoru anyway, because like
Well,
they knew that was not gonna fly with the audience, so they just
well, when they got married, she was 21.
Yeah. So, and I just double checked this. Age of consent in Japan is 13 years old.
I think it depends on the prefecture though.
Yeah, it's kind of like
The
how it is in the
general-
States.
The general overall. Ew, that's still fucking creepy. Moving on.
Yep. So, Joss Whedon has a new show coming up, and it's on HBO.
Really?
Yep, it's called
shit.
The Nevers, a
Oh.
sci-fi epic about a gang of Victorian women who find themselves with unusual abilities, relentless enemies, and a mission that might change the world.
Well, this is not going to be woke as fuck.
Of course it will.
Whedon will be the writer, director, executive producer, and showrunner.
Please note the sarcasm.
I think we're going to have a bunch of creepy scenes now.
Especially if they're all nubile.
That's good. Although I am expecting some good meme fuel from this. That is
I
if it
suspect
survives past the first season. But
Yeah, I
that said,
suspect
it will probably survive past the first season because cue Twitter outrage. You know, it's coming.
well, that and HBO will make certain there's a lot of nudity.
You know, you really have to stop and wonder how much of this is pre-planned. Like
It's always
they put
pre-planned.
these show-
Dude.
like put these shows out knowing there's going to be outrage and are expecting it.
Because here's why. It's cheap marketing for them. It's cheap marketing. If people on social media just ignore this, I can guarantee you Titans would not have been renewed. I watched it. It's not as bad, but it's still pretty bad. The costumes and things are shit. The dialogue.
And of course, there's the
work,
whole
but it's
man thing.
that's a minor aside. I honestly don't care about it. But that said, the writing is pretty bad, but it's not. You could possibly say it falls into the realm of it's bad but good bad. You know, you could actually laugh at it a lot.
So bad it's good.
Yeah, you could actually laugh at it in how bad it is.
Kind of like
It
Josh
doesn't-
Whedon's contribution to Justice League.
Yeah, you can't. It doesn't commit the ultimate sin of being mediocre.
Or being reprehensible.
Yeah, you can actually laugh at it. So, with that in mind, this might actually be one of those TV shows. But that said, back to my point I was trying to make. if you take away all the social media outrage, everything, Titans would have been a one-season show had nobody paid attention to it, had nobody gone on their high horses and made the innumerable horde of videos and everything on YouTube decrying the fuck Batman, the bad costume design. Although that was legitimate criticism, to be honest. But that aside, had everybody just shut up about it, the show would have died the ignoble, whatever the fuck, the bad death it deserved with Ignoble season 2. Yeah, that one. That is literally, and that is exactly what happened with everything else. People will watch these things out of morbid curiosity. That is what it comes down to. People go and they do hate views of shows and movies like these. I want to see what the outrage is about. I want to see what goes on in this.
Although I think the reason why it's not working for CBS with Star Trek Discovery is because the only thing that you can watch on their streaming platform is Star Trek Discovery. Because everything else you can just watch on as reruns.
Exactly, and nobody's going to pay to watch a fucking train wreck.
Nope. Exactly.
Even people who watched the first episode, like Gus Frola from Rooster Teeth, he said that he liked the first episode, but he was not going to pay CBS to watch the entire series.
Yeah.
See, it's not. That's the thing. Look, I'll say this as a non-Star Trek fan. Star Trek Discovery, with everything, it's mediocre at best. Fucking horrendous and reprehensible at worst.
Oh man,
there's nothing funny about it. They are trying so hard to be quote unquote woke that they bashed themselves over their head and they made the entire show
awful.
Stupid. There's nothing redeemable about it, even in the terms of being funny, laughing at the bad dialogue and things. It is, I mean, look at the She-Ra reboot. People are memeing the living shit out of it. There's going to be a second season.
Mm-hmm.
Once again, due to people logging on to do hate views on it because they want to rip the thing apart.
I have a take on that. It's a soundbite from If the Emperor Had a Text-to-Speech Device. Let me pull it up.
Why regular humans cannot be left unchecked for a single fucking second before they start blaming and blaming each other. I keep on trying to make humanity function on its own, but it just will not stop.
That is true. But yeah, see, that's the whole thing my point I'm trying to make.
Yeah.
These shows live and die on people giving them outrage views. It's what it comes down to.
Unless
I can promise you now, if they just the next big movie to come out or whatever, the big show that everybody will love to hate, I actually want to level a challenge at people. Fucking ignore it. Don't give it the time of day. Don't give them the satisfaction of attacking the bad show. Ignore it, the living hell out of it. Let them have their fun with it. Let them rub it in your face. Ignore them. Don't feed the trolls. These companies are like trolls at this point in time.
Yeah. You know,
straight up ignore them.
I will say this. I will say this, though, in regards to outrage marketing. Comicsgate, to its credit, did actually figure out how to tap that because the SJWs will not shut up about it.
Yes. And on the flip side, I can guarantee you, I'm still just waiting for the announcement. We are probably going to hear about a certain other person finally landing her dream job at Marvel this year due to people not being able to shut up about her.
It's like now I know how Ron Paul felt.
So, yeah. So going back to the whole hate views, there is a way that it won't succeed,
Now,
and that is if you do it the CVS way. I put a paywall behind it.
Yeah, put it behind a paywall on a unique. This is our streaming service, and this is our flagship show, and yeah, we're actually not going to have anything else on here.
Yeah, now they're. Oh, and here's the kicker. They're now rebooting Twilight Zone with Jordan Peele as the showrunner.
what? Jordan
Because,
Peele,
yeah,
the guy
because
whose background is mainly in comedy.
they
The Codex
haven't
Astarte says, "Kill that with fire."
well, here's why they hired him. Get Out.
Oh, come on.
Get out of
Don't worry. Yeah, that actually makes sense. Hello, politicalness.
Yeah, but the thing was, Get Out was taking the piss out of leftists.
Yeah, and also pushed another racist stereotype, some more racism. So it's not so much. It's not about taking. For them, it's not about how the story is supposed to be. It's about how they see the story.
God, they're stupid. They're like, did they even? It makes me wonder if they even watched it. Because, like I said, if they had watched it, they would have either they did not watch it, or they did watch it and somehow completely missed what it was trying to say. Like, completely missed the point. No. Jordan Peele. The whole point behind Get Out was that it was putting white liberals on the spot, saying, you guys want to talk about how woke and not racist you are, and meanwhile, have you guys looked at how you treat black people? You're just as racist as all the right wingers. You're just trying to be subtle about it.
Projection.
Yep.
Right wingers are at least honest about it. At least that's what that's not what I think. That's what the movie is saying.
Sure, Brett. Let's hear all about your anti-right-wing opinions.
I want to go back to 1992 so I can vote for Pat Buchanan. He did run in 92, right?
I wouldn't know.
I think so.
Pat had two. Pat had like two presidential campaigns. Let's see. He tried to run for president twice. Both times failed. Because Pat is just like he is. I love the guy. I love how much of a firebrand he is. Oh, he did run in 92 and 96.
Yeah, exactly what my country needed.
Pat's the problem with well, I wouldn't say the problem with Pat's the problem with the Republican Party. Like Pat's just like he's what Pat is what the Republican Party should be like.
What I'm talking about is
my
country just got another new political party.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Fuck's sakes.
It's just Pat just had the misfortune of getting squashed by neocons.
The reason that's funny is every time a new political party pops up in this country, it splits the voter base even more, taking away from whatever party could become a legitimate, how should we put this, opposition party. And I'm of the belief that all this shit is planned by the fucking ruling party. They pay people from whatever because they fell out of favor with their current political party. Yeah, here's cash. Go start a fucking party, split their voter base off.
That's possible. I don't know. It's just like I've been mulling over like the whole conspiracy narrative, and it's like some of the how the alt-right and white nationalists have that whole conspiracy about how the Jews run everything. and they're trying to erase
Yes.
white people. It's
Yeah.
like the more I start thinking about stuff like that, and I think like, you know, the logistics that would go into something like this just really strain credibility. And then I started thinking to myself, what if the world isn't chaotic because conspiracies? What if there's conspiracies because the world is chaotic? What if it's just like, it's a thing with, it's a quote from Alan Moore: nobody's in control, the world is rudderless. Because if there's a conspiracy, that at least gives you an adversary, that gives you a villain, that gives you someone to defeat. Whereas if nobody's in control, you have to then that's just a lot more terrifying, because then there's nothing you can do. You can, much as everything, as soon as you fix one problem, 10 more pop up.
Yeah. No, but still, it's just. Let me explain. So the whole thing about this new political party is the main opposition, the Democratic Alliance, the DA, when they got their new leader, party head, Muzi Maimane, the whole party suddenly did a fucking 180. They went from a whole egalitarian view, you know, full-blown gender and identity politics. They went off whole hog, the whole fucking whole 9 yards. One lady who's constantly in the news, Natasha Mazone, she is one of those rainbow-haired, at this point in time, white, like, and I mean white-haired fucking feminist types. They spew all the rhetoric. They go on about mansplaining. Fuck, I even saw something from him the other day about fucking manspreading. Yeah, I know. Bullshit and weird. But that's not where the whole fuck up comes in now. Because all of this shit happened. Their former mayor or leader of the Western Cape part ran afoul because she was found to have, Patricia DeLille, allegedly appropriating party funds for upgrades to a personal house. And
Great, more embezzlement.
Yeah, it's a common theme with South African politicians. So to the point where she has now split from the DA, and she has now started her own political party yet again. She does this every time she runs afoul and falls out of favor with her current party. When she left the ANC, she started her own party called the Independent Democrats, abbreviated ID. Now she has split from the DA following irregularities. New party abbreviation, don't care what the fucking name is. Good. Yes. And we've got plenty more where that came from.
Oh boy.
Jesus Christ. That's just messed up. I mean, like, Matt, what was that? I think Matt and I had a stream about this last week where we sort of compared corruption in both our states.
Okay. What
was that one family you had over in Detroit? Was it the Fitzpatricks?
Kilpatricks.
You got to hear that, Tank.
Well, yeah, this guy had Kwame Kilpatrick. He has a mother in I think it's the Mexican Congress, and they're corrupt as hell. So when he became mayor of Detroit, he practiced nepotism. He had, allegedly, I might add, because it's still something that he denies. But
that sounds exactly like the ANC.
Yeah, there was apparently a party at the mayor's mansion where he had strippers there. And
sounds exactly like the ANC.
And here's where it gets to be really bad. So maybe about a week after, one of those strippers found dead because apparently she was arguing with the mayor's wife. And The police detective that was on the case was laid off because he found out that he noticed that the bullet casings came from the same type of ammunition used by the Detroit police.
Yeah.
Oh.
That sucks.
Are you implying that the mayor basically paid off a member of the Detroit PD to do a hit on a stripper?
I'm not seeing anything.
Yeah. Anyways, so
I got
the levels of.
I got one for you. Here's what the former mayor of Seattle, Ed Murray, did. Now, he's done a lot of crappy things. Like, for one, he put in that $15 minimum wage, which not only wrecked the economy up in Seattle, like the city council, they hired an economist from the University of Washington to prove that it was working. Now, that economist, when he came back with results they did not like, they shopped it out to I think a different economist, I think from UCLA, just so they could get a more favorable result. Okay, now that's just one bad thing that I think that like the whole drug problem with the I-5 jungle, because there was like a whole homeless community under the I-5 passway in Seattle that they called the jungle, was just full of homeless people and junkies, and they just kind of ignored it until it got so bad that the local citizenry were complaining about it.
That's reactive problem solving.
Well, here's the thing. This is what sunk Ed Murray's career. This is what it took to get rid of him. The press found out that he molested his son when he was 13.
Gee.
Oh, and you want the cherry on top? Ed Murray ran as an openly gay candidate.
Okay. Anyways, on to funniest shit again. The picture I just shared was from a recent ANC gathering. If you look at it, you will see a guy washing his hands with Johnny Walker Gold Label.
Why?
Seriously?
Because he can. Because of all the money they stole.
Oh boy.
Literally because he can. Literally because he fucking can.
Okay, here's something that's a little bit more lighthearted. I think a few days
that's
ago.
Funny shit.
Yeah, it is funny. But here's something that just popped up on my timeline. Okay, so I think it was like a few days ago, probably even last week. Liz tweeted that she has on her Overwatch handle Ricky Spanish, which is, if you've watched American Dad, that's like one of Roger's personas, and it's supposed to be his worst persona. Like, it's like Ricky Spanish, the character is supposed to be like just absolutely hateful. He's just a terrible person. And so I tweeted at Liz, you got to play a session of Overwatch completely in character.
Oh boy.
Okay, so here's what now.
Here, what that relates to is here what she put up.
So, just to give you an idea of how many political parties we have in this country, right? So, we have in total. Let me just fucking fix this shit. Okay, so parties represented in Parliament, the ones who actually hold seats, who can actually affect any sort of policy that's being voted on, anything. We have 13 parties. 13 political parties: the African Christian Democratic Party, the ANC, the AIC, the African Independent Congress, African People's Convention, Ahang South Africa, Congress of the People, Democratic Alliance, the EFF, Freedom Front Plus, which are really, really playing up the, how shall I put this, white power rhetoric at this point in time, which is going to cost them if they're not careful. Inkatha Freedom Party, National Freedom Party, the Pan-African Congress, and which was incidentally the original ANC, but the ANC, as you know now, is an offshoot from them. These guys are much more militant. And the UDM, the United Democratic Movement. Okay, so that's the 13 parties in Parliament. However, there are still 57 more parties that people vote for. 57 parties. Now, you've got the South African Communist Party. Although they are a thing, they actually form part of the Tripartite Alliance with the ANC and COSATU. It's a trade union conglomerate. So basically, they put their votes, the Communist Party's votes get put towards the ANC. So they essentially bolster them. Now here's some of the more interesting party names. The Dagga Party. Dagga being weed. Their whole thing, their whole election manifesto is around boosting the shit about weed, obviously. That is their whole thing. Straight and simple. Yeah, I shit you not. And from there on, we've got the Women Forward Party.
You have to put a number to it. How many?
So in total, we have 70 different political parties in this country. 70. Of which 13 affects everything, of which the majority, obviously. So as it breaks down, they have 249 seats, but I'm not going to bore you with gory details from there, but that is pretty much how fucking insane it is. And then if you go from there, there are another 50 defunct parties that used to exist or still exist in some shape or form in the country, but because they literally have not done jack shit, it doesn't really matter because nobody votes for them. They're still, somehow getting money to be on the voters roll, but nobody ever votes for them.
Dude, how does that keep happening?
Fuck knows. Like I said, that is why I honestly believe that somebody is paying these people to keep their parties afloat, to split the voter base. That is the only conceivable endpoint of it all. That's the only reason that would happen, because by splitting the voter base,
it cuts down the
ANC. The ANC can artificially manipulate without actually physically cheating at the ballot. So they can split the voter base to keep their opposition's power down, essentially.
It's like
that's not to say that they don't engage in cheating roles, because they've been caught red-handed numerous times, shipping people in. People are once you vote, they take a permanent marker and they make a little mark on your finger. So what they found is that people have alcohol swabs and acetone and all that stuff to clean it off of their fingers so that they can sneak back around, get marked, go back in. This time with a fake ID, because we actually have voter ID in place in this country, believe it or not.
Wow, this kind of reminds me of the time like back in the old days when it was like, this was like, it was from gangs in New York. I think this was actually a real thing at one point. To sort of cheat the ballot system, they would have guys go in, vote, and then they would go to the barber, get a quick shave, like get their mustache and beard shaved off so they looked different, and they basically voted twice.
Yeah, and in some cases, these people ended up voting not once, not twice, not 3 times, but 7 different times.
And it's like, It's like, dude, did they ever stop and you're gonna tell me they don't look? They don't,
No,
they don't look and say,
they
wait.
open the ID, they see a different name, they see a valid ID number, they scan it, the computer system comes back with this is a valid ID. And in he goes.
I'm wondering,
In she goes.
they don't take a look and see, hey, wait a minute. Haven't I seen this guy 6 times already?
They don't. They just scan the ID. It comes back valid. They stamp them in, and they go and vote, to the point where that voting station was shut down due to, guess what? Spoiled ballots. None of the votes from that station counted.
Like, does security there that give that little of a fuck?
That was one of the things. So now you have representatives from all parties at voting stations, unless, of course, they get scared away due to violence.
I
Yes,
think we
that's
need
a
a
thing.
new title.
No, this is we won't need a new title for it. It's just because it's election year and everything this side. It's just it's funny.
It's unfortunately, Matt, Comics and Coffee is too catchy of a name.
Yeah, well, I have water, no coffee tonight,
I
unfortunately.
already had coffee. But yeah,
Well,
But
you know,
yeah, so yeah, it's just it's funny shit when you think about it all.
oh yeah, no doubt it is. It's just, yeah, it is. It is funny. It's just like, it's. I mean, what's also, it's just what's also funny is what it took to get rid. Like I said, bring it back to my side. People let Ed Murray stay after it was even they let him stay after the $15 wage. They let him stay after the I-5 jungle debacle, and what it took to get rid of him was them finding out that he diddled his kid.
Yeah,
Don't get me wrong, he should have been run out for that, of course. Like that, I don't think anyone could debate that. But it's just that's what it took. He had already fucked up enough times already, but this is what it took to get. But you had to dig up something that was so bad you couldn't justify keeping him. How do you justify keeping a mayor after he's fucked up the local economy and just let a drug problem fester?
Free votes.
It's just,
Because I can guarantee you, by not prosecuting the drug dealers and shit, they voted for his ass.
I don't know if there was some backroom deals in that case. I think it's just bad
kept
city
him in
management.
power. Dude, no. Literally, when shit like that happens, and I see it this side all the time, they don't deal with these sorts of fucking problems because it keeps them in power. It keeps their fucking back pockets filled with pocket change.
I don't know, considering that he pushed in that the $15 wage happened under his watch. I have to believe it's just I don't want to ascribe to corruption what can just as easily be ascribed to incompetence.
Corruption and incompetence go hand in hand.
They do. Well, if it's about the perception, Mike, he was still doing bad. Like I said, there were so many businesses that cut back on their employees' hours because of the wage, and some of them just outright left Seattle because it was too expensive to do business there.
Well, at the end of the day, it's that's why a lot of people can't live in places like Sandton or certain areas of Cape Town either this side, because it's too fucking expensive. It all literally comes down to the sheer cost of living.
Yeah,
and we don't even have. Well, we only since the start 1st of January we now have national minimum wage, but yeah,
dude, up in Seattle, depending on what neighborhood you're in, a 1-bedroom apartment. I'm talking just the rent alone, not including utilities. $2,000 a month.
And that sounds like a bachelor's flat in a place like Umhlanga or Santon. 25,000 rand a month for your rent.
Yeah, but that's just a single one-bedroom apartment.
Yeah, one bedroom, bachelor's flat. 1 bedroom, no kitchen, so you can't make food, but you have a bathroom, so you have a place to sleep, a living room, and a place to shit and wash, but no place to make food, right?
Yeah, a lot of
25,000 fucking rand a month.
Yeah. But yeah, like most. But yeah, point is like that's like on the cheap end. Now again, that's
$1,800 a month.
Yeah.
Thank you very much
Yeah, it's
for rent for the place where you can't even make food.
Oh, dude, it's like I said, like, and I just said that's just rent. That's not including utilities. A lot of these places, like, you have to pay the utilities separately.
Yeah, no. See, this place usually has a prepaid electricity meter, but you do get your water, so you still have to pay your electricity separately.
A lot of places I've rented out to, I had to pay the electricity. I had to pay. There a lot of places I've even looked up. You got to pay for electricity. You got to pay for water. You got to pay for sewage. You got to pay for trash removal.
Well, that's fortunately part of the rates and taxes this side. Thank fuck.
It's insane.
Yeah, but yeah, that's how the funny stuff goes. Look, I can bash this place all day long, but yet for some reason, it's still nice to live here sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, like even this, like I said, even though I say like Washington would improve overnight if Seattle dropped beneath the ocean, I still wouldn't trade it because I actually do like living out here. I mean, like I just stay out of Seattle. It's like there's like almost no reason for me to go up there. Like the traffic sucks. It's crowded. It's hard to. It's not a city made for vehicles, so I can't really get around very easily in my van. And finding parking's terrible. And when I do, oh fuck, I have to pay for it as well. It's like I just almost have no reason to go there. Fuck, I don't think. I don't think I'll even go up there for cons. Like, the big con out here in Seattle, out here in Washington, is Emerald City Comic-Con up in Seattle, and I have it on good authority. There's actual fucking gatekeeping there. Like, I am never going to be able to host a booth at Emerald City Comic-Con because the board, they'll look at my Twitter history, they'll just have to find that one Donald Trump tweet I RT'd, and they'll say, this guy's not coming in.
They'll just buy you for the sheer fact that content of your book.
No, they'll say like, "Oh, this looks cute." Dude, no,
wait a minute.
Then
they start reading. She's raised as a Christian. She's straight.
Yeah. Yeah, trust me. That's like that'll make them do a double take, and then they'll start looking into my Twitter history. And then they'll find, oh, he's a Donald Trump supporter.
They'll just look at my Twitter feed and it's going to be like, okay, a lot of fucking memes. A lot of shit posting. Yeah, no, he's not coming in.
So, yeah, you will never see, sorry, but well, I can't say Wicked Publishing as a whole because I'm just one guy at Wicked, so you're never... I'm sorry, any fans I'm gonna make, but you'll never see me at Emerald City Comic-Con because they wouldn't take me.
Yep.
Not that I'd want to go anyway. It's like, why would I? Like I said, I don't really have a reason to go up to Seattle. Matt.
Yes.
Where's Matt? We had to put him down. He went crazy.
I am right here.
Yeah, I guess I was gonna ask, like, how is it gotten expensive to live out in Detroit?
Not really, because for the first episode of season 3 of the Grand Tour, they managed to buy a house to live in for their Detroit episode for a very little amount of money.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, it was a sit house, but you had to, it was next to Condemned, so
Okay, so how about let's just assume you go into the. Hey, is there a nice part of Detroit at all?
huh. The suburbs, but that's technically not Detroit.
So you can't. So, well, I'm gonna assume if you happen to find a 1-bedroom apartment out in Detroit, it's gonna be in the rough part.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, it's gonna be cheap, but it's not gonna be a safe place to live.
So nobody moves to Detroit to live there.
Too.
Like there's okay, I guess a better way of putting it is if you have people who do business in Detroit, but they don't live there.
Pretty much. But then again, who has
Say what, Matt? You cut out.
nowadays? Who really has business in Detroit anymore?
I think Ford and Chevy still do. I think the Tigers, the Pistons, and the Red Wings and the Lions still do.
Yeah, but anyone that matters. Because it's GM that's still there. I don't know so much about Ford or Chevy, but there's not that much to do, much room in there for what used to be known as Motor City.
Yeah, I'm also pretty sure Motown shut down years ago anyway.
Yep.
So about the only people who are still doing business out in Detroit are the sports teams and the auto companies.
All companies have very limited amount. Very limited.
Detroit is pretty much coasting on their sport teams, aren't they?
Not very well.
Really? I thought the Tigers and the Red Wings could at least be counted on to be solid.
The power supply is just the power system is just so out of date that it'd put Detroit in a lot worse debt than it already is. And
wow.
yep.
It's just so. Yeah. I guess, man. Okay, so like it's like Detroit has the exact opposite problem Seattle has.
Yeah, pretty much. That's basically all Democrats in charge. So
Seattle is Democrats in charge too. Seattle's the reason Washington hasn't had a Republican mayor since the mid '80s. I mean, a Republican governor.
So when is it being turned into a gigantic parking lot?
no idea.
I just want it to be turned.
You know,
I want it to drown.
Yep. You know, the one thing I have to say with Sci-Fi Channel is that whenever they have these everything you didn't know videos out, it's usually about stuff that everyone knows already. And often,
but Matt, have you looked at it through the feminist lens?
Also by people who have never seen the show before. I mean, just a week ago, they did everything you didn't know about Babylon 5. The coach.
Anybody who's watched the show who actually loved it will probably know that. So I don't see what your fucking plan is.
Well, the hostess, it's not even that. It'd be interesting if it was some kind of woke take on it, but it wasn't. It was just
pedantic.
So very cringe. Yeah, it's basically they're trying to give out information that everyone first knows, but through a host that has not seen a show at all and has no idea how to pronounce the names. You can tell that she hadn't seen the show when she pronounces Delenn as Dalen or Lorian as Lauren.
They couldn't, like, what the fuck? They couldn't just have one of the actors host it. I mean, I'm pretty sure Claudia Christian's schedule is pretty open.
Yeah, well,
That would probably cost me money.
actually, Claudia Christian's doing more social work in terms of helping people with alcoholism.
Yeah.
Again, they can't call it. They can't ring up her agent and say, "Is she available to host a Babylon 5 special for a couple hours?"
No, because that would probably actually mean that they would have to put some proper effort into it.
You know who would have really wanted to do it? Bruce Boxleitner.
Yeah, there's also a good question. Why not just ring up his agent? I'm pretty sure he's not doing anything.
Well, he is acting. He is doing work.
Yeah.
But he loved the experience so much that he once loudly said, "You couldn't make it a 6-year arc," to the show's creator. And has often said to the cast and crew to enjoy that moment because it doesn't happen every day. To have people who actually like each other working together. To have good food during lunches. To have on-time shooting schedule. Everything that made Babylon 5 work for 5 years was the reason why it made it 5 years. They did not go over budget. In fact, they went so under. They gave back money for it, the show, and to the point where
think that based on the production values.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well,
a lot of
I think
the effects. Let's be real though. Some of the effects have not aged that well, but it was the '90s, and a lot of it was early CG. So you can't hold that against it though.
I would say that it actually looks better than most movies these days.
I'm going to say that they're the guys that Star Trek ended up taking for their CGI.
I don't know. It's still, I mean, like, I'm just saying, like, some of the CGI used in the show, it's like I said, it's the worst. For the time, I'll admit it was probably good, but it's just like, you can tell it hasn't aged well.
It aged better than Dune. The sci-fi original.
That's true.
Yeah.
But the other thing about it is they also used a lot of practical effects.
True.
Where they could.
And there's also the fact that the kind of camera they used, they can't remaster the series because of the expense they'd have to put into it. Same reason why they can't do a remaster of Deep Space Nine or Voyager.
And that's why we'll never get them on Blu-ray, huh?
Pretty much.
I don't care for remasters of those shows. I'd rather just leave them the fuck alone.
Honestly, I have to say that Babylon 5 could use it. I've seen the high definition pictures of what the show would look like through the Babylon 5 encyclopedia and B5 at 20. And that show would look so much better with it.
Look, I'm not going to argue with you there, but I don't trust Hollywood.
Yeah.
That's my problem. I don't trust those motherfuckers. I don't trust them.
Here's the thing. I have to say, get the guys who did the original Star Trek the original series remaster, because those guys were so passionate about the job that the reason why it took so long was because they made the Enterprise too high quality for that.
Damn.
Okay. But see, that's where passion helps, you know?
Yep. Too bad they don't have them anymore.
Yeah.
Oh, well. I mean, you can talk about it all day, but literally when it comes down to it, when it comes to any sort of show that is, iconic or anything like that, you just cannot trust Hollywood at this point in time to touch anything and do it justice because they will try to fit some bullshit narrative message in there.
Well, it's a good thing. If they were to do it, JMS would be the one in charge, and he would say no to a lot of changes.
That
Big-
that is true because the show's his baby.
Yeah, and the sequel series Crusade died because he refused to make changes to the show because, well, for one thing, a lot of things that TNT suggested were absolutely horrendous, such
Stupid.
as not just stupid, but in one episode they suggested that they have the captain put a female crew member at risk so that when the antagonist came by and let's just say sexually assaulted her.
Oh yay! Artificial drama.
Yeah, and that's how they get rid of him by showing him the video footage of that event to blackmail him off there because, TNT, they know how to do things.
Yeah, no, that is that. Yeah, that's shitty.
But years later, he found out that the reason why they gave all those kinds of notes is because they wanted him to they wanted him to end the show himself because they didn't want to break the contract. All the money that they had promised to Crusade, they put to buying the rights to NYPD Blue. So they really needed him to stop working with them.
Oh, because I get it. They wanted to end the series and break the contract because it had become too expensive to stick with him.
Yeah, because they found out that when the Babylon 5 audience came in, the TNT audience went out. But when the TNT audience went in, the Babylon 5 audience went out.
So, backroom politics.
Yep.
Funny how that works.
It's just like, why would anyone want to work in Hollywood? It's just like you're like, I can't think of an industry that is more cutthroat.
Oh yeah, you want to hear something else? The reason why Sci-Fi Channel was interested in continuing Crusade. Problem is, TNT held the rights, and they made it too expensive for Sci-Fi Channel to continue the series. Because if Sci-Fi Channel made it work and it was a giant success, then it'd be TNT with egg on their face, and executives would get fired.
Yeah. Fuck it all.
Yep. Also, TNT did some very woke things back then, such as the miniseries Mists of Avalon. Which is basically the feminist take on Arthurian legend.
Oh yeah. And then I'm guessing they pulled the plug on that when they found out that the author had let her daughter.
Well, this is decades before that happened. About a full decade before all that was revealed. And it was a miniseries that was already produced and shown.
Interesting.
Yep.
It's just really, it's just like it's amazing like how much bad people are willing to tolerate up until you find out that the person in charge diddles kids.
You know what I find interesting about the Marion Zimmer Bradley case was that nobody denied it. I saw zero defense of her. So it's like it was an open secret. or if it's because her husband was a pedophile who basically died in jail.
It's just, yeah, I just I don't believe it. It's just like, what the fuck? It's also the kind of the same thing with the Harvey Weinstein thing. It's like, because, okay, for context where I'm going with this, it was an episode of the Dick Show I was listening to, and it was Dick sort of offering his take on the whole thing, and about how how about everyone in Hollywood was just fucking sellouts, and then his co-host and audio engineer Sean pops in and says, I remember back when you got an agent and you were starting to break into the entertainment industry, and he told you, Dick, I don't know if you know this, but the entertainment industry is tiny. And you responded with, actually, I did know this because my friend Sean told me about this. And Sean went on saying that everyone in Hollywood is 1 to 2 degrees removed from each other. Everyone knows each other. So if Harvey Weinstein had done the things he did, everyone knew about it, and they didn't say anything because they wanted to protect their positions.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's the scariest shit of all. And that is why.
And I'm willing, and you know what? I think Sean is completely right, because I remember later, like it was probably months later, like months later, Weaponized Nerd Rage put out a video about how Ron Perlman said, like, when before he would shake Harvey Weinstein's hand, he would piss on his own hands.
Oh, you mean this wonderful little meme?
Yeah, well, you want to know something? That implies that he knew about it.
Yeah, he knew about it. He obviously knew about it, and he just decided, well, what am I going to do? I could take him to the police. Nah, I'm just going to piss myself and shake his hands.
Well, here's the thing that I have to say about it. It's hard. This kind of thing, I don't think he had the evidence for it. So, if all he knew was from
hearsay,
stories and rumors about Harvey Weinstein, it's
to be fair,
for it to happen.
To be fair, Ron Perlman's never been an A-lister. Like, the people in Harvey Weinstein's immediate orbit, those are the people who know for a fact it's true.
Yeah, like Ben Affleck, Matt Damon.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, the people in his immediate orbit are the ones who would know for a fact that it was true. Everyone else would probably just either hear things, but like I said, with the entertainment industry as small as it is, it's like you got to hear it from one person you know is a credible source, and it's like, yeah.
Yep.
Still though, I mean, but that just kind of shows that if someone like Ron Perlman, who's not even an A-lister would know about it.
How widespread is that shit?
Yeah. Exactly. It's just like
that is the thing that should probably scare you more.
Yeah. I mean, like, fuck, Corey. That's even supported with that one Corey Feldman interview where he said the biggest problem in Hollywood is pedophilia.
Yep.
And trust me, if anyone knows what pedophilia looks like, it's Corey Feldman. And it just suddenly got quiet.
Yeah, especially it's just one of those hard truths about Hollywood is that it's just not a good place to be if you.
It reminds me of
if you want a family.
It reminds me of that. It reminds me of that time we had Preston on the show, and I commented on, like, if you want to work in Hollywood, it's pretty much a prerequisite. You have to sell out.
Yep.
Which is kind of Kind of why you'll never see me there.
No, I have worst case scenario, start up an internet production company. Be enough on the outside of that.
You're probably right.
I think interesting.
Mhm.
You know that Japanese metal band, Baby Metal.
Oh, that.
What
They've
about
got there's a comic for them out now.
Wow,
Well,
man, I'm surprised.
Well, I mean, Kiss has had several comics made about them.
Yep. But here's the thing about Kiss. They're a they're an American band, so there actually would be an audience for that. Baby Metal is pretty much an unknown among a general audience.
They're
Necessarily say
they're-
that.
dude, they're a niche even among metalheads.
Yeah, well, let's put it this way: the whole shtick that they run around with is kind of wearing thin, seeing as the band members are getting older now.
Yep.
Yeah. So I get the feeling.
That's it. The music's still.
I was gonna say though, I kind of see Baby Metal becoming less of a band and more of a brand at some point.
I think it already is.
Yeah, like they're just gonna rotate. They're just gonna bringing in new. They're gonna bring in new members. Like just get some reasonably cute girls who can sing, and have them.
Well,
that's it.
see, that's where the balancing act's going to have to come in, because the ones that sing will have to have their voices not be drowned out by the rather good instrumentals.
Yeah, like I said, like the.
That's the balancing act that they are running on.
Yeah, that's just kind of what I see happening to that. Like that's just like they're just gonna keep rotating in new members, and it's just like the whole shtick is it's a bunch of cute girls singing metal songs. It's like I said, it's not being a band. Like I don't think it even was a band from the word go. It's just been a brand.
I think it started off as a band because that's generally how these kinds of bands start off.
I don't know. Like there was that once. You guys remember like that? I don't know if you guys remember this, but back in the '90s, there was this sort of techno take on an old bluegrass song called "Cotton Eye Joe" by a band called Rednecks.
Yeah.
May have heard of it.
Okay, so here's what I found out. Now, a lot of this came from an old Todd in the Shadows video back when I was into Channel Awesome. He did a little digging into the history of the act, and he found out Rednecks is not a band proper, but in fact more of a musical brand. Like they've recycled in members and changed genres over the years. And that's now I'm not gonna now obviously Baby Metal, they're probably gonna be sticking with their genre, but like I said, like that's what's gonna happen to it. Like when the current singers just get like too old, gonna phase them out, replace them, and that's just what it is. It's at that point it's just more of a brand.
Yeah.
That seems legit.
Now the only question is like, I mean like I'm not sure how I feel about that because there are so many independent bands who are breaking their backs just to get a little bit of attention. Like there's one I follow, Jinx. That do you guys know Justin Wang?
Yes.
Yeah, he's the guitarist in that band.
Well, see, that's my whole problem that I have with music this side. Good bands from our side fade away and don't get anywhere because shit like the Antwoord or Seether make it big.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, to be fair though, I mean, like I don't. Jinx is actually doing pretty good for what they are. In fact, they're shooting a new music video, I think. So, and obviously Justin's channel gets them a lot of attention. Like Justin has a very good following on YouTube. And I'll just say this not just because the guy follows me on Twitter. I've spoken with him a couple times. He's a very cool guy.
Yes. Let's just add the caveat in there. No agenda here.
I don't have. Look, I've spoken with Justin a couple times, and like I said, he's been pretty cool. He's been.
I'm just fucking around.
I'm not claiming I know him personally. Though. I don't. Like I don't know it. I don't think I know him. Just because he happens to follow me on Twitter, it's just like that doesn't mean like he and I are friends or anything. Okay.
If it did, your follower count would be a lot bigger.
Yeah.
Dude, you are trying to explain away a lot for somebody just trying to make a fucking joke.
I know.
That's kind of his thing.
Yeah. Like I said, like he's responded to a couple tweets I've made. Like I said, he and he follows me. But like I said, I would not go out and say that he and I know each other personally. But yeah, but from what I've gotten from the few interactions I've had with him, he has been a really cool guy.
Yeah. That's just.
But yeah, like I said, his profile does a lot to help the band out. And then, like I said, Jinx does good for where they are, and their music is actually really good too. I mean, I like it. It may not they're kind of like a revival of like a new metal from the early 2000s. So you may or may not like that, but it's like you got these guys who are passionate about what they're doing. They make really good music, and then you got Baby Metal, which gets huge, and it's just more of a brand than a legit band.
Yeah. Now see, here's the thing that really pisses me off. These guys, they released like 3 albums. They're called Knave. They're a local band. Their last album that they released was fucking 5 years ago now.
Wow.
It's sad because their music was good.
Yep.
I really liked it. And now they're off the map. The YouTube channel is defunct because they did not get any sort of recognition. Look, we still have good bands, guys like Prime Circle and things like guys like them, but for the most part, music this side is pretty much the same as music everywhere else. It's if you get discovered, or it's just how can we commercialize the living shit out of it?
Thank you, Seether and Antwood.
Yeah. The answer, just keep it simple.
Although, to be fair, I think you said like at one point Seether was kind of good.
They were possible. The original stuff when they were still back here, which you won't find on YouTube, was good. You could listen to it. There wasn't the kind of immediate cringe you feel when you hear their stuff now that you just want to skip the track.
I mean, fucking their earlier stuff when they got to the States hadn't changed that much, I think.
They've gone, how should I put this, very mainstream. It's a very commercialized sound now. So
yeah, because I think you showed me like a track from back when they were called Sarin Gas. It was Fine Again, and about the only thing I could see that was different from the version they did in the States was that the production just wasn't as good.
Well, the more raw sound actually helped them back then. They helped them sound unique, as it were.
Really? So it's like once they got better production, then they just started going to shit.
They sounded like every other cookie cutter generic band out there, yeah. And then bands that we actually still do have some interesting bands here that but never went big. So we had a industrial metal band by the name of Battery 9. Now that was some interesting stuff. You'll find some of the tracks on YouTube, but it's one of those lost to the annals of history bands.
Let me guess, they sort of had a chance back in the 90s?
No, see, that's exactly the point. They never had a chance due to them starting out in the 90s.
Really?
Yeah.
The 90s
Let's put it this way.
The 90s was when industrial metal was at its biggest.
In the wrong country.
Oh.
Remember, you're talking about South Africa. Yeah, the 90s was the waning years of apartheid. A lot of music was only started to allowed to be listened to again.
All right.
And please note, some of their songs were banned by the old regime due to them being subversive. Okay? Are you ready?
Keep talking.
The Beatles. I shit you not. Some of the Beatles' music was banned by the old government in this country due to it being deemed politically subversive. I can't remember which tracks it were, but they were a fair share. Chris de Burgh, some of his music, more specifically Spanish Train, that track in particular was banned. Pretty much all forms of heavy metal were banned. Nearly all forms of rock and roll were banned. Majority of movies that came this side were banned. It's only by the slimmest of margins that they started showing Star Wars here, because it did not contain any form of political message that could subvert the expectations or belief of the people of the country of South Africa.
My God.
Yes. There were wholesale books that were banned. It's absolutely insane. I'm actually going to have to one day see if I could still find the list of banned media, if it is somehow still maintained somewhere on the internet. Because that shit was just insane.
You're going to tell me they didn't keep, you're going to tell me they might have gotten rid of the records?
Considering the fact that entire affidavits get lost in the police station, yes.
Damn.
Yeah. I should you not. You could be assaulted on the street right now. You could go to the police station. You can go open up the case. They would file it right there. When you go back, after you don't hear any fucking thing from the cops whatsoever, if you go and do a follow-up, sorry, sir, we lost your docket. Because for some reason, if cases are deemed of a particular, how should we put this, sensitivity, they magically leave the laptops and files on the front of their patrol vans and they just get broken into and the stuff just disappears. Or, as mentioned previously, they just break into the police station, steal the shit directly from the cop shop.
Yeah. Yeah, speaking of
I'm actually gonna go see if I can find it right now.
Yeah. Speaking of both Matt and I are within spitting distance of places that used to have happened in music scenes.
The funny thing is, Electric Six had a song that can sum up everyone's opinion of Adam Levine right now. Which is basically a song that was essentially "Go to Hell, Adam Levine," in one way, in one form or another.
Yeah, but it's like back in the day, Detroit used to be the place for rock and roll and R&B.
Well, the Detroit council killed it all.
And then, of course, back in the day, Seattle was the place for grunge. But that just went away because of people's tastes changed.
I kind of feel like Democrats have some way of killing music. You there?
No, I'm just thinking about what you said. It's just like I said. It's just like just what you said right there. It's just like I am starting to notice something. It's like that can't be a coincidence.
Nope.
Although, like I said, I think in grunge's case, I think it was just more people just moved on from it because, like, let's be honest, it was more of a fad at the time.
Oh yeah.
It was just more of a fad at the time than a legitimate music movement, and I think like its death knell pretty much got sounded when Kurt killed himself. Well, allegedly killed himself because our people suspect that Courtney might have had a hand in it.
Okay, cool. Yeah. I've got some interesting things on there, but here we go. I've not found the things of in terms of music, but the banned movies and books under the apartheid regime. Okay, first up, Monty Python's The Life of Brian.
Well, that's obvious.
Reason: banned under apartheid regime because of blasphemous content.
How about Blazing Saddles?
That's just the thing. It didn't sell you at all. And the rest are pretty much things that were made locally, or funny things like that. But here's one: A Clockwork Orange. Can you guess why that one was banned?
Let me guess: subversive, possibly pornographic.
No. Banned under the apartheid regime for 13 years, then released with one cut and only made available to people over the age of 21. Yeah. Fun stuff. But it's, as I thought, the complete list of everything that was banned is gone. It's not like... It's one of those things that people really did not want to let be known, but
you think with how much the current government shits on the apartheid government, they'd want to include every bad thing they did just so people would hate them that much.
Yeah, pretty much. But it would I can't say that you might get a strike, so no.
I think we might have a strike. If there's anything, we'd get a strike from an earlier conversation about the whole Vic Mignogna controversy.
Am I going to be that guy who keeps getting strikes on his account?
Well, to be fair, I don't think it's going to be all that bad, simply because you look at how all these other channels that don't have strikes on them.
Mm-hmm.
And Andy Worski had to move away from YouTube, mainly because of that little racist rant that Geek Fulu went on about a 5-year-old child.
Oof. Oof.
Well, was it worth winning a fake fight against a supposedly crippled red man, Andy?
I suppose we will know. Was it all worth it? What did it cost you? Everything.
All right, what's next? Like, is Geek Flu going to track down that 5-year-old child and win a fight against him? And then they're going to go, oh, Geek Flu is so brave. So stunning and brave.
Oh, if Taco's caught wind of that, he's probably laughing his ass off right now.
Oh, he already did laugh his ass off about the Geek Fulu racist diatribe because it was on the Kumite when I saw the video.
Andy, how do you feel? Congratulations, you managed to beat Tonga on a technicality, but you're still losing.
I wouldn't even say
he's still losing.
I wouldn't even say that Worski won the fight because you can't win a fight that never happened.
Nobody won by default.
It's a win by this, which according to Patty Anselmo is the sweetest victory there is. But that's neither here nor there. Point is, he's still fucking losing.
I'm also gonna say one thing. What Andy won was a participation trophy.
He's probably. I bet you right now he's just like after the Ian Miles Sean thing. I'm gonna bet his channel's starting to bleed subs.
You know, I'm gonna say that he might actually have a reason for the way he was acting with Ian, because Ian did admit to his attempt at swatting him.
True.
And the leak video makes him sound so bad.
That is true.
Like he was going to try to kill. He wanted to kill Andy Worski.
If that's true, then fuck, Ian is a scumbag.
Doesn't matter to me.
I mean, like I said, but Anthony's also a scumbag, so it's like, how much do you really care?
It's a fight where you have two douchebags fighting and everyone winning because they knock themselves out.
Well, true, pretty much, yeah. Like,
in this corner we have one Duis. In that corner we have another Duis. Who's gonna win? I don't know. Who's the biggest Duis between the two?
Exactly.
I think in this case it's Ian.
Ian has
in that case he's just been promoted to push. Technically the same thing. The one just sounds more nasty than the other one.
Yep.
We're being honest. I think if you take into account Ian's history, like, you know, him going from like I think I remember it was an old video Jim did back when he was Internet Aristocrat. It was like in the middle of his Gamergate series. And I think he pulled up some stuff about Ian's supposed alleged white supremacist history, which is funny considering that Ian's Asian.
But come on, dude. Don't you know that Asians are honorary whites and can therefore be white supremacists?
Oh yeah, I know, but it's just like there's some old laws. I think one of them was Ian actually saying Hitler is my idol. Like,
that's funny as fuck.
I have to wonder. Do you think he was actually serious, or was he just being an edgelord back then?
Who knows? We may never know.
Well, not unless he comments about it, which he hasn't, to my knowledge. But then it's like he goes from that to being a turbo feminist, and then he plays Witcher 3 and he realizes, wait, oh, these social justice warriors are all wrong.
Or he's just a social comedian looking for a place where he can find the most capital at whatever point in time.
So he's like a certain blue hair that a certain community can't stop talking about. I'm not gonna say which ones I'm talking about. Because I want to keep the audience guessing, but you guys know who I'm talking about.
But there are so many of them, dude. I mean, come on.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, dude, you know who I'm talking about. Yes, you know. Did we just lose Matt?
Possibly, maybe.
But yeah, you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah. Obviously, I know. It's just I'm just playing the game.
Yep. But yeah, everyone else listening, they're gonna have to keep guessing about who I'm talking about because, fortunately, I worded it vaguely enough that they'd have to guess. You have to wonder. Is Matt's internet worse than your potato connection now?
Probably. Which is actually kind of funny as fuck, considering. It's actually very funny if you consider it all.
It is funny.
What's going on here?
Let me check. Let me see how long we've been going. Almost 2 hours.
Almost. But yeah, it's here we go. But yeah, it's funny stuff when you think about it. I mean, some people decide to get outraged with all this shit. I just decide to get my yucks and laughs out of it.
Yeah, it's like, you're back. Matt, hello.
I think he's back in a fashion, but we'll see.
All right, so what were we talking about?
We moved off from the blue hair and the community that won't shut up about her.
Okay. So, Tank.
Yes.
After reading some comments about how they introduced a lesbian couple as supporting characters in RWBY, how do you feel about having SJW stories now? Because since we've got lesbians involved in our stories, that immediately makes us SJWs.
Just for the record, I don't give a fuck.
How is it implemented?
For the record, I don't give a fuck about RWBY, so this doesn't mean anything to me.
Basically,
is it the America Chavez style, where she can't shut up about it? Where she mentions it 17 times in 2 panels.
No, it's just she mentions it once that, oh, hey, this is my wife, and that's it.
Wait, okay. wasn't the RWBY fandom going nuts over Blake and Yang supposedly being a thing now? They're calling it Bumblebee.
No. Actually, that's not. It's not a thing because, well, Blake gave Sean a kiss earlier in the season.
Mm-hmm.
So
what's the whole Bumblebee thing? Is that just them shipping the characters?
Yes.
Yes, it is. Of course it is. But you know what? I'm at least glad that Rooster Teeth hasn't made it official, and their headcanon remains that.
Know something?
Suck it!
You know something funny? There are rabid people who actually think that Rooster Teeth bends the knee to everyone. When it's really not the case. Absolutely not.
It's more a case of them actually sticking out a middle finger.
Yeah, and in this case, just because you're the recipient of the middle finger doesn't mean that they bow to anyone.
They just firmly but politely say, "No, we are not doing this."
Yeah, and also the fact that the voice actresses for Yang and Blake, they actually have people shipping them because of as an extension of that.
I think the chick who plays Yang has a Bumblebee tattoo, and they're like all like, "Oh, it's official! She supports Bumblebee."
Well, actually, she does, but she hasn't really commented about it yet. But that's probably after that whole complaint about him and the between her and the voice actress for Blake, supposedly queer baiting after an innocent conversation on a panel where the strippers thought they were kissing because they had their hand up, but it's just so that she could whisper something into basically in between. They were whispering in each other's ears and didn't want the conversation to be filled out.
Fucking hell! I can't wait to write this a gag. To write that gag into Changeling. What I'm gonna do. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna be depicting Maeve and Jenny's relationship. It's gonna it's BFFs, but I'm gonna write it in a way that is very sneaky. It's gonna be like something to lead them on. Think, wait, oh, are they gay for each other? like I said, it leads them on.
Dude,
the
problem with how rabid these feminists are, how they are about these things, you don't even have to lead them on.
I'd rather
two friends next to each other, and they will start doing it.
Do that. I want to fucking bait them. I want to fucking bait them just so I can then write that gag in where it all but completely sinks their ship, and it says in no uncertain terms to them, these two are not gay and never will be. Fuck your head cannon. And
access denied.
Laugh at them.
I really can't wait for the two characters that are going to have a lesbian relationship when they break up. It slowly sinks in that these two will never get back together again. I can't wait for that reaction.
Yeah.
Yeah, well.
It is going to be epic. And that is going to be how, and by the way, that's how you do outrage marketing right.
And then you'll get blamed for queer baiting.
But how's it queer bait? Talking
about Matt.
But how's it queer bait? We never planned on following up on it.
Well, here's the thing: we gave them what they wanted, and then we broke them off.
We gave them what? No, no. We dangled. We dangled the possibility of giving them what they wanted, and then we took it away from them.
I mean, one of them actually is a lesbian, so that's not technically queer baiting.
He's right. He is right.
You know they'll spin it their way. You know it will happen.
All I'll say is,
I know.
I'll just say what I've always been saying. Fuck Death of the Author. I honestly don't think there's been a more poisonous concept in literature than Death of the Author.
I have to read up on that.
Okay, so what Death of the Author is, Tank, is it basically means that what the author intended their work to mean doesn't matter. It's all what you think it means.
Okay, so I therefore interpret that Twilight is a steaming pile of shit, and I can light it on fire and throw it at Stephanie Meyer.
Pretty much.
That's why I interpret it to be a flaming ball of shit.
I'll pull the TV tropes thing. It's a mid-20th century literary criticism. It holds that an author's intentions and biographical facts, like the author's politics, religion, etc., should hold no special way to determine an interpretation of their writing. So basically what I said it meant. What the author intended their work to mean doesn't matter. It's what you think it means.
Yeah, but when you literally show it to them, there's no dancing around the fact that, yeah, it's not going to happen. It's like you literally just put it in the story that this is not happening. So there's no dancing around the fact or interpreting it like, oh, but I wanted to mean this. No, this is literally what I just said. It ain't meaning jack shit different.
Yeah, I think mid-20th century. Oh fuck! That means it's from the postmodern movement.
Which means you can immediately ignore it outright and kill it with fire.
Exactly. I think we can also. Yeah, I think we pretty much are of one mind on postmodernism.
What is postmodernism?
Now I gotta. You're a writer and you don't even know what that is. Late 20th century style. Hold up, late 20th century style and concept in the arts, architecture, and criticism that represents a departure from modernism and has at its heart a general distrust of any grand theories and ideologies, as well as a problematic relationship with any notion of art. So it's like, it's about as deconstructionist as you can get. Where's that noise coming from?
It's quiet now. That was me. Sorry.
All right.
Yeah, so okay, so while you were away, I was sort of commenting on that the three of us were pretty much of one mind on postmodernism, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Because that's what Death of the Author is. It's a postmodernist concept. If we're being honest, like, has anything been more toxic to writing than that?
The concept of postmodernism.
Can you guys name any good postmodernist literature? I can't.
I can't think of anything that postmodernism has given us that has been good.
Yeah. It's all like, yeah, it's just like it's just all about deconstructing shit. It doesn't build up anything.
Well, duh. The name says it all. Deconstructing, therefore destroy.
Yeah.
Well, what I think a lot of writers tend to forget is that when you deconstruct something, you have to reconstruct it.
Duh. Yeah, that's the point. You have to build it back. If you're going to take something apart, you better be building it back up and replacing it. Like,
yep.
It's the difference between KOTOR 2 and The Last Jedi. Beer or soda?
What?
I heard a can crack.
Oh, yeah. That was me.
Definitely soda.
Huh.
What variety?
Beer cans make that noise too.
But this is Matt you're talking about.
What? You don't drink it?
No, he's talking about where we live. We live in the same country.
We drink beer out here. In fact, like Americans are crazy about alcohol.
Yes, but we both know that Matt does not drink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's soda. So I asked him what kind.
Oh. It's one of those flavored Diet Cokes. They just released a Blueberry Acai kind. Figure I'd try it out before
Flavored Diet Coke. So I don't even like regular Diet Coke.
I don't either, but
yeah.
I don't know.
I miss vanilla Coke.
Actually, here's when you get woke. You miss New Coke.
Well, All I have to say is that Burger King and Wendy's has a lot of different flavors of Coke now.
Oh,
Here's
yeah.
the interesting thing, though.
I was working
The
at
main-
Burger King when they introduced those.
Yep. So,
Yeah.
go ahead.
So the whole thing, if I remember correctly, the whole new Coke, original Coke thing is back then when they did the tests and everything, new Coke was sweetened by using high fructose corn syrup, which changed the flavor. Original Coke was sweetened, as is still sweetened this side, using cane sugar. From what I understand, majority of your soft drinks these days, including Coke, is now all sweetened using high fructose corn syrup, which means inadvertently you folks are drinking new Coke.
Irony.
But here's the question. But here's the thing: New Coke bombed so hard they had to roll back to the original formula.
Yes, and then the whole thing is you can just then, instead of doing this whole massive relaunch like they did, you just subtly start swapping out the cans with the new stuff later on. Why use high fructose corn syrup in the first place? It's cheaper to manufacture.
Yep.
That's true, but
And it's one of the first ways I can definitely tell that a drink's been imported from the States or anywhere else, the difference in flavor and how it's sweetened.
Mm-hmm.
Because when we had vanilla Coke, yeah, that was very nice because obviously sweetened using cane sugar. If I buy a vanilla Coke now that's imported, it's almost always, it's got a much more cloyingly sweet flavor to it due to the use of the corn syrup.
Actually, here's another thing. I don't know if this is a thing out in South Africa, but out here in the States, there's it's kind of a meme that the Coke at McDonald's tastes better than anywhere else.
That's because it's
they,
brewed in the store.
Yeah, Matt has the insights, and Matt has the inside why.
It's basically not from a container. It's not from syrup. It's pretty much brewed in the store. So it's a much more fresher tasting Coke.
In other words, every McDonald's in the States is basically a mini Coke factory.
Yeah.
Wow, and I just realized what it sounded like when I said that out loud.
Andy Worthy's there in a second.
Funny fuck. Shit.
You ever wonder why McDonald's is Andy Worthy's favorite?
Now you know. Now you know.
Oh God. I gotta isolate this. Like that clip and put it on YouTube. Put it on Twitter. It's gonna go viral so fast.
There are possibilities.
You know what's really funny? Last year, the meme for Andy Worthy was low IQ. This year, it's Cokehead. What's next year?
No, actually, no. Last year it was Race Worski.
Well, yeah, Race Worski and low IQ Worski.
And light my nipple on fire Worski.
He's
Insane.
the guy's just out of his.
No, that's not insane. That is. I'm honestly convinced that he is suffering from severe brain damage at this point in time.
By just saying something, considering he's never actually been in a fight, as far as I know. But then again, if his drug use is legit, he's probably fried a lot of his brain cells anyway.
That's a possibility.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, like it's well documented what happens when you have years of drug use. It messes with your head. Just basically turns your brain to mush.
Yeah.
Especially if you get years of heavy drug use.
Yeah. Reminds me of the one guy that got so high. It was one of my cousin's friends. The guy was off his rocker, went into somehow smashed depression, and he tried to commit suicide by shooting himself in the head 6 times with an unloaded gun.
Jeez.
He unloaded the thing in front of us. You could see he's trying to load the thing, but he can't because
He's
they
too
recorded the shit.
He's too high. He's too high to even get a straight shot.
No, he never managed to load the revolver because it's one of those with a flip out. So you have to, you know, how you load a single action army where you have to load the bullet, move
The chamber.
it, and then and he couldn't open that slit to allow him to load the bullets.
Jeez.
He was that high. Man, it sounds like that dude had
And
one.
why they recorded it, I will never know.
That sounds like that dude had one hell of a bad trip.
I believe, if I remember correctly, he was on acid at the time.
Oh god, yeah. I've heard like when you do like acid or magic mushrooms, and if you're in the wrong headspace, a bad trip is like it's hitting the abyss.
I wouldn't know, and I hope to never know.
Shame.
But yeah, it's shit like that. It's like, see, the thing that always carries with me is why did they record it? Because I remember watching this on a videotape because this was before smartphones were a thing, so they recorded it on a video camera. Yeah,
I guess
Funny
just
times.
because that's sad, and it's like I don't know. Do you know whatever happened to that guy?
yeah, he's still alive. He's currently working. If I believe, he's working a security job, rent a cop.
So I guess they just kind of. I guess they just did not. If he managed to get his life back together, they just did not want this as a reminder of anything. Who knows? Like he might have been in a really bad spot at that time in his life.
It's possible.
He was living in pretty much what you would call a dying town at that point in time. The town is called Grootvlei, and it's pretty much, for lack of a better term, a retirement town because the majority of the people who live there are
Old.
over 60.
Yikes.
And it is smack dab in the middle of fuck off nowhere. The most exciting thing that happens there at night is the lights go on.
Wow.
So that should explain to you.
I don't know. It doesn't like I said. For all we know, that guy was probably in a really bad spot in his life. And
Yeah, well, you're 16 years old. You live in a town where the majority of people are already 1 foot in the grave, 60, 70, 80 years old.
Yeah.
There's fuck all going on. The closest place to you where anything exciting might happen is 60 miles away from you.
Jeez.
Yeah, and if he managed to get his life back together, like they just decided either they wait. You've seen the. Yeah, they probably just did not want to bring back open up an old axe wound or something.
Yeah, but that's some weird shit.
I don't know. The closest
One thing though, the other funny things that happened was we were the high school in Harry Smith. It was matric year, last year for school for us. So what we did was the high school is right opposite the graveyard. The rest of the school has high fences, except on the graveyard side. Just low fence, and you could pretty much climb over. So what we did was we snuck into the school the Friday evening through the graveyard, We then proceeded to put silicone in all of the locks at the school, at the high school. Every single lock was siliconed. Come Monday morning, they couldn't open the school.
Wow.
Huh. Jeez.
Was that supposed to be like a senior prank or something?
Pretty much.
At my high school, my freshman year, the senior prank was that the seniors brought in a small dinghy. You guys know what a dinghy is, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. They brought in a dinghy and they stuck it in one of the hallways and filled it with sand.
Oh, jeez.
Nice.
My sophomore year was a bit of a downgrade. They just TP'd the front lawn. One of the most epic senior pranks happened before I went to high school. The seniors, the night before, covered the parking lot in Snapple caps.
Yeah. My oldest brother, what they did for their senior prank was in the home economics class, they used 2 bankies of Swazi gold weed and they baked a space cake for the teachers.
Oh. They served them laced with pot.
Yes, and they baked it in the oven in the home economics class.
So
not off-site in somebody's kitchen at home, in the fucking school.
So the whole classroom got baked, didn't they?
No, not the class. They baked the cake specifically for the teachers.
No. I mean, like, no, they baked it inside of the classroom when everyone sort of got baked from the fumes.
No, they stood outside.
Oh.
They avoided getting high while making the fucking teachers high.
How about you, Matt? Your high school do anything wild?
The wildest thing that my high school did was a smoke bomb in the cafeteria.
Oh.
And releasing cockroaches during the senior video.
So no senior pranks at your school?
They cracked down on those.
Fuck, that's no fun.
Oh, you're like a little baby. We also throughout the year, you know those stink bombs with the stuff in the glass vials with that very foul-smelling liquid. I don't know if you guys got them. We used to get them at yeah. So what we did was we bought like 7 boxes of these things. We cracked it all into a balloon. And we proceeded to put it in the first hockey team's dressing room. So the moment the captain, she was always the first in, opened it up, this balloon burst all over her. And you know how hard that shit washes out. And they just came from their victory and everything, They won a good game and everything is just like...
Oh, boy.
Yeah. Needless to say, I believe they're still looking for the guilty party to this day.
How long ago was that?
This was in the 90s.
So that's almost 30 years ago.
That's over 20 years ago, yeah.
And they're still looking.
They'll never.
Well,
they'll never find it.
Well, they'll never find me or the guys who helped me. Because let's put it this way: this happened on the Saturday. Monday in assembly. Let's just say that there was a very, very interesting smell coming from the front row in the hall.
Oh, God.
I believe at the end of the day, she had to have her hair shorn off
Wow.
to get rid of the smell.
God damn, that's just awful.
Ah, we were all about doing funny shit. In primary school, one of the teachers, Mr. Bishop, the grade sevens, had absolutely no like for him. So what they did was he drove one of these small 1.4 liter buckies, very small, tiny little pickup, classic Datsun, 1970s model, which he looked after. He looked after very well. So what they did was they carried it into the square. Now this was a collection of classrooms that was literally in a square. Carried it in there, put a little of the tires, and proceeded to just leave it there because he had did something to the first rugby team and they didn't like it at all. So the entire team carried his little bucky in there, and this was during we had 2 breaks during the short break and long break. So 10 minutes, 20 minutes. So 20-minute one, they carried it in there while all the teachers were in their canteen area. And because it was one of the last days of school, the grade sevens wrote their exams and left. So they literally wrote their exam, waited until that time, got his bucky, put it there, and they all left. The commotion around the school was quite fucking hilarious, if I remember. It was how shall I put this? The colorful language that you could hear coming from that classroom was not exactly what you would want to have in a primary school. If they had to put it on the TV, it would be pretty much just one continuous long beep as they censored it. Yeah, we got up to some serious shit.
All right, well,
Did
you have anything else to say? Tank?
Yeah. The last thing we did that we did ourselves when we were in grade 7 as well. One of the newest teachers that arrived at school, he was a fairly heavy set man, and I do mean let's put it to put in perspective. Think land whale.
Oh boy.
That's how big this guy was. But make no mistake, he could really swing the paddle. So you never really truly wanted to piss him off because, yeah. So what was done was we took a rotten potato. He was out on, they took some of the kids on a school trip and everything. So his car was there at school. So we took a fairly rotten potato and we stuck it into his exhaust. Now, the reason why people normally make a mistake with the cars and everything is by the time they put in a fresh potato. So you take a rotten potato, they tend to fuck around with it a little bit more. To the point where that thing congealed inside his exhaust. Now, his car that he drove already had problems starting.
You wrecked his car.
Yes.
Jeez.
What can I say? What can I say? We really, really did not like these teachers. And at the end of the day, when it comes down to it, the way this car was repaired didn't really cost them much because we had pretty much every second guy in town was a backyard mechanic. Literally, that is what was done in Harry Smith at that point in time. The whole thing is you either fucked around or you worked on a car or you did some form of manual labor on weekends. just to keep busy. So everybody decided, pretty much majority of people in town were backyard mechanics. So you never had a shortage of someone who wanted to try something new that he read about in the magazine Speed and Sound on how to, and all those things on how to repair this, or let's just try this. It's the crazy. So everybody pretty much tinkered with their cars.
Jeez.
All right, so like I was gonna say, it's a little past noon right now. I've been going for 3 hours, and then I guess the only thing I wanted to leave on was that I am happy that Tom Brady got his 6th Super Bowl ring this year. Mainly just because I'm that much of a Patriots fan or a Tom Brady fan, because I'm not. My loyalty will always be with Russell Wilson and the Seahawks. But I like that Tom Brady pisses off leftists. He has 6 Super Bowl rings now, bitches. What y'all gonna do?
Why is that significant for them to cry about? Yeah. Honestly, for somebody that knows fuck all about the culture, why is that such a big deal that people are pissing and moaning about it all over Twitter?
I think it's because someone has something to do with Trump. I have to look this up. Tom Brady, Donald Trump.
I think he's a Trump supporter.
Is it, like, really?
I think so. Or he had a Trump hat or something like that.
A MAGA hat?
Oh.
See.
Oh, that'll do it.
Might have been, might have been like,
he has a friend of Trump.
I tried doing a Google search and I cannot find out. Like, there's too many articles. Too much noise for me to sift through. It's like so many of them, like talking about, oh, here's what he has. Like, here's one by everything Tom Brady has and hasn't said about Donald Trump. With another Super Bowl win, here's why Tom Brady and the Patriots should. It cuts off at that point. Tom Brady has a chance to kiss Donald Trump on the mouth. Donald Trump congratulates Tom Brady. Daniel Radcliffe. Here it is. Daniel Radcliffe slams Tom Brady's Trump MAGA hat. Okay. Fucking Daniel Radcliffe.
What?
Really?
Who gives a fuck what Harry Potter?
What? Shit. Fuck me. Oh shit. These people really are fucking lol cows.
Yeah, it's just sort of. Oh my god! Like it's just like, has anyone given a fuck about Daniel Radcliffe since the last Harry Potter movie?
Maybe, I don't know.
Like, he's been in a couple movies, but it's like
I think he's made so much money off of Harry Potter that he doesn't need to act in so many movies. He's not Nicolas Cage, who has to be in just about every single movie because he's got a massive debt.
Yeah. So that's why Nicolas Cage is in everything.
Oh, when you got multi-millions in debts, yeah.
You'll take anything.
Pretty much.
No matter how bad it is.
Yep. Although I hear that he was part of Ghost Rider because he actually liked the comic.
All of a sudden, you guys ever remember that one College Humor video where it's being Nicolas Cage's agent and the agent keeps showing him scripts for movies that are just based off the title alone. They're awful, and Nicolas Cage just keeps saying, "Yes, I want it."
I don't know. I never watched College Humor.
This was like years ago. This was like years ago, man.
Or at one point, someone will probably just say, "Hayden Christensen's in there too." He actually did he did co-star with Hayden Christensen in a fantasy movie.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
I feel bad for Hayden Christensen, honestly.
He's honestly not that bad of an actor, but let's face it, Anakin Skywalker has sort of stained his reputation.
Yeah,
Well, no,
But-
not his reputation, it's stained his image.
yeah. I mean, the prequels were bad, but he was actually a pretty good actor for some of the scenes, such as when Padme tells him that he's pregnant.
Yeah, like when he just has to use his when he doesn't have to speak.
Yeah, he didn't have to speak, so he used his body language to communicate his entire emotional range, because it goes through different ranges, such as he's happy that she's pregnant, but oh no, what's the Jedi going to think?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah, like I said, like he's a good actor who was let down by a not so good script.
And director.
Also true. And let's be real, like George Lucas was more comfortable being a producer than he was a director.
Yep. He did try to get good directors, though. He wanted Ron Howard. He wanted Steven Spielberg. They told him no. This is his baby. He should do it. Big mistake on their part.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
That-
man.
like
Could be worse.
all I can say is yeah. Happy Tom Brady has 6 rings, and I think he's got 3 more seasons in him, and after that he plans on retiring, so he'll probably be making it 9 rings.
Yep. So,
Make them cry even more.
I found out something that last night that I'd like to have Tank's opinion on too. But Robert Pattinson and
What
Sorry,
about
what?
Robert
Who?
Pattinson? What about Robert Pattinson?
they're eyeing him to be Batman.
Huh? Come again.
Any
Okay.
opinions?
They can do whatever the fuck they want. I don't care. I'm not going to watch it. So, goodbye.
What's this about Robert Pattinson and Batman?
Well,
want
they
him to
want
be
him.
Batman.
They're eyeing him to.
What?
Honestly, I'm gonna take a wait and see, because
I'm still freaking lost. What's this about Robert Pattinson and Batman?
they're eyeing him to be Batman for the Batman movie.
Oh.
Yep.
I don't real. If anyone's expecting me to get outraged, then I'm going to disappoint them because I don't really care about Robert Pattinson.
Honestly,
Exactly my feeling.
well, it's gonna get the outrage clicks because, oh no, Edward
Obviously.
from Twilight's Batman now. Sparkle, sparkle, sparkle.
Yeah, you know it's going to happen. I honestly couldn't give 2 flying fucking shits, to be perfectly honest.
I really can't wait for him to actually kill the role and just have everyone just enjoy him as Batman. Because, okay, look, Michael Keaton, comedy actor, became Batman. People complained.
Yeah.
One of the best Batman ever.
I know. Yeah, I know about that.
I don't think they're gonna hire Kit Harington because he says he wants to be more of the Adam West Batman.
Was it what?
Jon Snow wants to be Batman, but he wants to be an Adam West type of Batman.
Okay, that's
Interesting.
pretty fucking weird, but okay.
It's
I think he's getting tired of all the brooding he had to do for Game of Thrones.
Yeah, okay, I can see that. It's like,
Let's check the script. Brooding, brooding, brooding. Can I have any more emotions? No.
it's like, Yeah, it's.
But see, that's the problem. If they're going to use this fuckhead from Twilight, shouldn't they just have in their whiny bitch instead?
Yeah, here's what kind of makes me wonder if Kit Harington, if the next movie Kit Harington does outside of Game of Thrones is going to be a straight up comedy.
I think it's for every actor who becomes famous has that period where they're doing straight comedies. Although, you ever stop or My Mom Will Shoot?
Oh God,
Briefly.
that movie is awful.
Well, the best part about it is that it's something that Arnold Schwarzenegger trolled Stallone with, because he let slip that he was interested in the role, so Stallone went and grabbed the role.
No, wait, I thought that was a Stallone movie.
It was. So basically, Schwarzenegger let leak to Stallone that he was interested in doing the movie. So Stallone went in.
Oh, I get it now. He knew the script was bad, and they were hammering him.
Yep.
They were hammering. He was trying to get. I see where this is going. They wanted him. He knew the movie was bad, and he knew Stallone would take any movie he didn't want.
Yes, or any movie that he wanted.
Any movie he
just
wanted.
for the whole gloating thing. Yep. So when Schwarzenegger says he wants a movie, Stallone's going to go in and try to get it. Boy, did that backfire. Boy, did that backfire on him.
Yeah, that did backfire. But anyways, I'm pretty much done. I've got nothing more to talk about right now.
Yeah, I don't think any of us do. I think we've been going on for long enough. We'll just be, Matt and I we'll take our break, and Matt and I will be back in Hack Run 6.
Yep.
Thanks, guys.
See you later, everyone.